Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite podcast, the podcast covering the infinite and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom, from movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here, as always, with Court. And Court, we're entering the Disney multiverse this week.
Yeah, they've got the limelight. 60 episodes for us.
Yeah.
This is the 60th episode. Spectacular.
Yeah. And
what a better thing to talk about than D23.
Yeah, so it's like D23 has become like Comic-Con adjacent, but for like business folk.
Mm-hmm. But now it's its own just full Nexus event.
Yeah, because people anticipate lots of things. I know the last D23 was a lot of big time stuff was announced, so people were eagerly anticipating what was going to be announced and revealed, and for the most part, it was pretty on the level with, nothing spectacular.
Yeah, if you meet your expectations, it was actually a pretty cool reveal. And I mean, the other side to it is that if you were in person, it probably was an absolutely insane event to go to. That's my goal for next year for us. We're going to be at D23.
All right.
We'll be on stage at D23.
On stage?
Yeah.
All right.
Whether it be legally or illegally, who's to say?
So yeah, we're going to talk about all the things from D23, the gaming, the Disney side, the Star Wars side, and of course the Marvel side. But before that, we do have some news. And first and foremost, we got a first look at Rian Johnson's Knives Out sequel, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the trailer looks good.
Yeah, it looks great. Everybody
looks good in it.
Yeah,
they have a great cast for this movie, much like the first film. The second film is an ensemble that is just star-studded and loaded. Obviously, Daniel Craig is returning, and then adding to that, you have Catherine Hahn, you have Dave Bautista, you have Ed Norton. Ed Norton's in this. So yeah, I think it looks pretty great, and all people who have, people have seen this already.
Yeah, so, I mean, the big thing that I was going to talk about at the very end of the episode is that it's film festival / award season. I mean, the Emmys are also tonight, so award season is in full swing. Toronto International is going on right now. I'm so upset because I would love to go because they're showing Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell's new movie. So they're showing a lot. Brandon Fraser's back. It's the 90s again. Brandon Fraser's the biggest guy in Hollywood right now. But no, this movie looks absolutely incredible. And yeah, it has been received. I think it's sitting in the 90s or something like that in Rotten Tomatoes right now. Always take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, Rian Johnson knows how to kind of command his presence as like a movie maker. All of his sets look incredible. We're in the new era of murder mysteries. Minus Murder on the Orient Express. I guess that's the one. That's the stepchild of this. But no, it looks really phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see this one. And I think this is something we're going to definitely review as well. Like this.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, we could talk about the first Knives Out movie, which is pretty spectacular. Yeah. The reveals, the twist. Chris Evans. Yeah, it's just good stuff.
Returning to his dickish roots.
Yeah, you gotta get back to it.
Finally, yeah. It's been a long time coming for him. He finally returned back to the typecasting that made him famous.
Yeah. And twofold. He's also in, what was the movie on Netflix he was in?
Wait. You talking about the Ryan Gosling one?
Right.
Oh,
The Gray Man.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, The Gray Man, yeah. So yeah, Glass Onion looks fantastic. I don't expect anything less. Rian Johnson, as controversial as his entry into the Star Wars universe is a pretty fabulous director in his own right.
Right.
Just a stacked resume for that guy. So I'm excited for this. We have a new Elvis.
We do have a new Elvis.
So fresh off of Austin Butler's Elvis movie, we're getting another Elvis movie. This time from Sofia Coppola is bringing it to us, and Jacob Elordi has been cast as Elvis, the new Elvis.
Right. So I mean, this is going to be an A24 production, and all my film peeps out there, that's big time. The A24 bag, but. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's told from Priscilla's perspective because this is based off her memoir that she wrote. And I mean, Sofia Coppola is one of the best directors in Hollywood, much like her father. So that's going to be really incredible to see. And I mean, kind of this more indie look versus the Elvis perspective. Elvis is back.
Elvis is back.
The Elvis IP is back.
Yeah. Kaylee Spaney has been cast as Priscilla also alongside Jacob Elordi. So Let the Elvis battle begin.
The Elvis battle will begin.
Jacob Elordi versus Austin Butler. Here we go.
They should have cast Jacob Elordi as Paul Atreides, and then they should have fought in Dune 2.
So we do have some Star Wars news outside of the things that were announced at D23. So the mysterious Acolyte show that not a ton is known about, but we do have 2 leads. So we have a female lead and a male lead that have been officially cast. So Jodie Smith-Turner has been cast as the female lead, and Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game fame, but who is an acclaimed actor in his own right, even before Squid Game, has been cast as the male lead in this Acolyte show that we don't know a ton about.
Yeah, all we know is that it's set 100 years before Phantom Menace, so essentially this looks like the rise of the Sith coming back into power after thousands of years of them being, kind of held at bay. So this is going to be an interesting show to kind of dissect. I think this is going to be a fun one because of the perspective of darkness, and kind of we're going to see the Jedi at their height and like at the best they've been, and then finally like this dark facade is going to befall the Star Wars universe. So that's going to be a really, really interesting perspective to look at. And I wonder if they're going to try to make them a little bit more understanding of Sith versus like they're just evil for evil's sake. I want to see if they're going to round out kind of like the ins and outs of the, of the spectrum of good and evil.
Yeah, I feel like you would probably have to do this if the show is going to be pretty much told from a Sith perspective.
Right.
Like when you're doing that, and your point of view characters, regardless of what kind of their morality is, have to be compelling.
Right. That's storytelling. That's character storytelling in a nutshell. Is even your villainous characters, you have to find something. It's not going to work if people don't have any type of emotional connection to them. So we'll see if they're Jedi turned Sith. Like we'll see if they're some of the first Jedi turned Sith like 100 years before Phantom Menace. So
yeah, and they got 2 pretty well regarded actors to portray these 2 unknown, unnamed kind of characters. So should be interesting. And man, did you ever team me up for a segue? Because we're gonna talk about villains that need to be compelling, because we got another Black Adam trailer.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So the second Black Adam trailer dropped, and I think it's better than the first trailer because it showed us some things.
Sure.
And so there's a paradox starting to develop, I think, with this movie, because it looks good.
Yeah.
Like visually, it looks pretty cool, I think. Like nothing looks terribly cheap. The special effects look good. The costumes look really great.
That's one thing I've always said about the DCEU from the beginning with Man of Steel. Like their costume design is probably some of the best that I've seen.
Ironically, the only one I kind of had an issue with was the Batman one is probably my least favorite out of all of them.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, I actually do like that suit quite a bit. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's more of a fit of his Batman. Like, that suit wouldn't work with Robert Pattinson's Batman, or wouldn't have worked with Christian Bale's Batman, but I think it fits Ben Affleck's Batman. But, I mean, in terms of this film, you got the Justice Society aspect of it, which is a big piece of this. They're the X-Men.
Something like that. Yeah, they got a little X-Men plane situation. So, yeah, I mean, that's again, going back to the paradox of this movie is like, it looks good, but is it good? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be good?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, listen, Pierce Brosnan's going to join the whiteboard of people we love because he looks phenomenal as Dr. Fate. This kind of rounded out his character a little bit more and what he's going to be about. It's just that I think my biggest issue is, where does this fit exactly? Because they went out of their way. I mean, the big news that we talked about is that Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller for this.
Right.
So this is obviously in the DCEU, and the larger DCEU, and it looks like Hawkman is also like some sort of like this. I have a slight theory because obviously they're like, has Hawkman interacted with the other members of the Justice League at this point? And
well, his helmet is nanotech,
or it's the nth metal. It looks like, I think it's comic nth metal. That's what it is, right? But what is, like, Atom Smasher, for example? Like, where is he coming from? And obviously we have to see the movie, but where is this coming from? Like,
well, yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing, right? Is how they go about, because we've seen movies like this that try to do this, that introduce a bunch of characters that are new to moviegoers, and kind of how they go about that. And honestly, how I feel like this should go is just introduce them in a way that makes them feel like they've been around. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, don't go through like the origin stories and this, that, and the other thing. Like, just put put us in a world, say, look, these are who these characters are, and here they are. They're the Justice Society. They've been a thing for a while, and here we go. I feel like that's the best way to do it, instead of like pulling the curtain back and doing like each character's origin story one at a time. Just let it go. Just let it fly. Mm-hmm. Like, you already have to tell Black Adam's origin story. This trailer seemed to pit kind of Black Adam and Dr. Fate against each other.
Right.
Like, that feels like it's going to be, obviously there is a villain in this, but at least initially,
which is Sabak, if you don't know. So you're Sabak from DC Comics. So Sabak's going to play the villain of Black Adam, which with, obviously The Rock's going to be like an anti-hero turned hero. And I do think they're on a collision course between him and the Shazam family. They're going to fight each other, but I just don't know where this takes place in terms of the other. And we've talked about this.
You're doing the thing.
Yeah, we've talked about this for the longest time. Like, the DC universe is in such a flux where we don't know. There's no Superman right now. There's no Batman that we know of. It feels like Gal Gadot's even in limbo right now. I feel like she's not connected to anything right now. So maybe the Justice Society is in place of the Justice League right now. We don't know. Peacemaker still slaps.
Yeah.
That's the last time we've seen the Justice League is in Peacemaker.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this movie's going to be.
We haven't even talked about Cyclone. Like, that's how I feel like none of these characters are getting like any shine besides... I mean, they tried it with Aldous Hodge as Hawkman, but the only thing I feel for is Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
Yeah, and I think that's on purpose. Like, I think that's by design. Like, it definitely feels like that's what they want. They want Dr. Fate to kind of be the spearhead of this Justice Society and be like the secondary protagonist in this movie alongside Black Adam, which I think is a good idea, because I think out of all the casting, that's what definitely got people excited the most, was the Pierce Brosnan casting as Dr. Fate. So yeah, give him more stuff to do in the movie, I think.
Can I hit you with some casting that we definitely didn't leave out of this? Catherine Keener has been cast in Joker 2.
Right.
So, she played the mom in Get Out. She most recently was the villain of the Adam Project. So, adding some talent to that movie. I'm still on board with this. I know a lot of people have checked out because it's a musical, and I just implore people to just not act so narrow-mindedly about musicals, because, I mean, La La Land and Tick Tick Boom recently are just phenomenal movies. So, I still can't wait for Joker 2.
Yeah.
Anything you put Joaquin Phoenix in anything, I'm going to watch it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's building off the back of the first one, which was, a Marvel in and of itself.
What?
A DC in and of itself. Yeah, so that's good. I'm glad to see that movie is still going along, especially with all the drama going on at Warner Brothers, which we don't have any of that this week.
No, we don't.
Thankfully.
Yeah, we do. Oh, it was last week, the Don't Worry Darling stuff.
Oh, yeah. Woof.
It's getting bad. It's getting real bad. To the point where the movie's sitting at like a 30-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's being just...
panned.
Yeah, ripped apart by critics and by critics so far. So we'll see. That's a movie I'm definitely going to see that and talk about it whenever it drops to the public soon. I think it's later this month. So I'll give you my review of it. The trusted critic of this podcast of films is me. So,
do you want to talk about King Thanos?
I think we should talk about King Thanos.
I don't know why we're putting this in, but it feels weirdly relevant somehow.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, because of the D23 stuff, it definitely does.
So the Avengers campus in California, Disneyland, California, they do these big scale attractions, and they have the, whatever movies out at the time, they have actors there portraying said characters. So, Scarlet Witch has been there, Doctor Strange, America Chavez, they've all been there. I think they're getting a She-Hulk soon.
Yep.
But the big Kevin Feige kind of talked about them unveiling their latest attraction at D23, which was King Thanos, and which was supplemented with a very fancy looking splash page.
Yeah, I mean, the splash page is the Secret Wars 2015 splash page. It looks phenomenal.
It looks insane.
Oh my god, it looks so cool.
So I guess the genesis of this is basically what if Thanos, but he wins in the end, like ultimately wins, and I would assume what would be Avengers Endgame, like he succeeds
right
in everything.
I gotta assume it, like he wins in that universe, and then the heroes from that universe go to the instead of going through time, they go through the multiverse to try to beat him.
Yeah, and he's like super powerful now. He's got a beard.
He's got a beard. He's got a crown, just like King Charles.
Look, don't tease us like this.
You missed my King Charles joke.
I tried to roll through it. Rest in peace to the Queen. You know,
she's gone.
96.
96. Long life.
Long, amazing life.
Yeah.
You don't get, people in that position of power don't usually live that long.
Nope.
So
ask King Henry VIII. Ask Paul Atreides. It's the same guy. Go watch The King on Netflix. This isn't a paid sponsorship by the King, but
so why are they doing this? Why are they teasing people like this?
Well, I mean, the other thing that Avengers Campus did was that whole sizzle reel, which felt like it was from the future, because Ultron was back. They went out of their way to have Iman Vellani shoot scenes. You had Captain Marvel and Captain America shoot scenes, so Brie Larson and Anthony Mackie were back. Evangeline Lilly and Paul Rudd were back, so... Is Avengers Campus the future? Is that, like, what... Is this relevant? It feels,
I don't know. It's so weird.
And also, Tatiana Maslany was also, she's part of that Avengers Campus Avenger team, so... Is that gonna be the new Avengers? I mean, we called half of it, because we said it was gonna be Captain America, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and Wasp, She-Hulk, and then, I mean, the only people that I said that were missing were the new Black Panther, Doctor Strange, I think.
Yeah.
So... Got some people around. Daredevil looks like he's about to hit King Thanos in the face.
With his sticks?
With his sticks.
Get out of here, Daredevil.
Buddy, you got sticks.
You got sticks. So I just thought that was super interesting and super cool. Because I'd love to go there someday just to experience it.
We're gonna go there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I got before D23. So let's get into it. Let's get into D23. Again, like we said up top, a big kind of just powwow of mostly what the people were looking for. I mean, certain sects of, what's cool about this is, like, there's a little bit of everything for everybody, right? So you have your Disney, like your original recipe Disney stuff.
Right.
You have your Star Wars stuff, and you have your Marvel stuff, because this is, Disney is a conglomerate now that owns these massive IPs, and they need a platform to show it all off.
Right.
So that's what they did for this. So we figured we'd start by doing the gaming side. So Disney, it's not Disney games, but it's, games that are made using Disney products and licensing. So the first thing is we got a better look at the Midnight Suns game from Marvel, obviously one of several Marvel games that are coming in the next calendar year. It looks interesting,
sure.
But the kind of card game RPG XCOM style thing is not my thing.
Nope.
So, but I know people that is their thing. So
right, and I don't know how well that's going to play on a larger audience, and it's a great idea, especially what we can feel is coming for the MCU itself. That's an interesting idea. You get this mystical realm, this mystical side of the Marvel universe, and you introduce it in a game. I think the second that game was introduced, I think people were really looking forward to that be like maybe even on the scale of like what Guardians of the Galaxy was, just on a mystical level, but no, it is a card, essentially is a video card game, so that really turned a lot of people off. But I guess you go for the story if that's the case. So.
Go for the story, and like I said, there are people that have enjoyed the XCOM games in the past, so, it's video gaming is much like movies and TV, like it's, not everything is for everybody. There are certain games that I recognize that are really, really great, but that I just can't get into. So that looks pretty good. One thing that wasn't at D23 but was confirmed is that EA is making an Iron Man game. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that this was a rumor, and this has now been confirmed as I understand it. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Who's going to play Iron Man? Tony Baker again?
Troy Baker? I don't think Troy Baker did Bruce Banner in Avengers. It was why can't I think of his name? Guy who played Nathan Drake. Not Mark Wahlberg. Not Mark Wahlberg, not Tom Holland. Nolan North. Nolan North, yeah. Did Tony Stark in the Avengers game. Did a good job, I thought. Yeah. Like I said about that game, it has its gameplay issues, but I thought the story on the whole was pretty good.
Especially the beginning of that story, I was really into.
Yeah, me too. could be interesting, an Iron Man
Right.
game. The only proper Iron Man game we've ever gotten was the movie tie-in game from, that was not great, but my dumb 16-year-old self immediately purchased after I saw Iron Man 2008, and I don't know where that game is today.
Maybe we'll review that game.
Oh, God, don't make
Before
me
we
do that.
review that Iron Man game, we'll review that game.
But, yeah, I think that could be interesting. We've spoke quite highly of the Marvel kind of single player offerings, as it pertains to obviously Spider-Man and Miles Morales, the Avengers kind of single player campaign story stuff, and then Guardians of the Galaxy.
Took us by surprise.
Was incredible. So looking forward to that. There was a Tron game announced.
Man, you don't understand how excited I got when I saw it. Because that was like the first thing they opened with was like the Tron ring. And I was like, are they about to do what I think they're going to do? And like, I hope they make it kind of open world-ish if they're going to do it. Because you got a couple of routes you can go. You can do just straight up like a racing-esque game with the Tron vehicles. Or you can do more of an open world type of game.
Yeah, from what I understand, this is a kind of a detective kind of story.
Man,
so yeah,
I'm on board.
Tron Identity players will follow Query, a detective program keeping the peace on an all-new grid. That's pretty great. Tasked with unraveling a complicated break-in and theft. You'll interact with a number of intriguing characters and decide whether to ally with them, spurn them, or even de-res them.
Not the de-res.
So yeah, that sounds interesting. Definitely not an IP that gets a lot of looks.
Well, I mean,
nowadays.
Yeah,
so.
We were supposed to get the Tron 3 with Jared Leto, and that still is in limbo. So I don't know anything about that. But man, Tron Legacy is like, I think for me, that's the movie where people are like, what's your like movie that you don't care about any type of review and like how you feel? Like Tron Legacy is that movie for me. That movie holds such a near and dear place in my heart. So anything I can get Tron on my hand. Bring back Daft Punk for the score.
So that looks interesting. There was a Gargoyles remaster announced. So the early 90s, if you're my age, you remember the early 90s kind of Nintendo era platformers that are impossible. Lion King falls under that. Aladdin falls under that. Gargoyles certainly falls under that. So the Gargoyles 1990s platformer is getting remastered. These types of things are in right now. I mean, the Ninja Turtles just did it with Shredder's Revenge, and it's incredible. I love that game.
Are we just back in the 90s bag? We're getting X-Men 97. We're getting Gargoyles.
Go to the well, man.
Brandon Fraser's back.
Brandon Fraser is back. Go back to what works. Yeah. People love nostalgia.
The 80s just took the last couple of years, but it's on to the 90s. We're on to the grunge.
I love Gargoyles so much. That was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. And then the last gaming thing, which I saved for last, is the most interesting to me personally. So, for a while, Amy Hennig was being circled for a untitled Marvel game. For those of you who don't know, she is one of the most forefront and influential women in the video game industry. She's one of the most notable video game directors, doing things like Legacy of Kain, Jak and Daxter, and obviously most notably for Uncharted.
I love Jak and Daxter so much.
Me too. That's one of my favorite games from the late 90s, early 2000s. I love Jak and Daxter. And then obviously Uncharted, one of the most popular gaming franchises of the 21st century. And so she opened up her own gaming studio with Skydance, and people were wondering, what is she working on for Marvel? Because she was also the director of the now scrapped, she had a Star Wars game that was being developed that was scrapped. And so people were like, is she working on Daredevil? Is she working on Captain America? Because, you've kind of got to figure what she does. You know, narrative, kind of action adventure, story driven, who fits that bag kind of. So you think you're more fisticuff, hand to hand kind of characters. And that's ultimately what was revealed. That's what we got. We got a 1940s World War II era narrative story game featuring not just Captain America, but also Black Panther.
Yeah, that's insane. That's so cool. So this is going to follow a 19-year-old Steve Rogers, obviously after the Super Soldier Serum, and it's going to follow Black Panther's T'Challa's grandfather, which is pretty interesting. And then it's going to be one of the Halloween Commandos, and then it's going to be one of the members of the Dora Milaje on top of that. So that's kind of a cool kind of litany of characters that you can choose from. I wonder if it's going to be like a Last of Us situation where you switch from character to character based off what you're doing, or if it's going to be more of a choose.
It seems like what that's going to be. She has come out and said that it won't be a co-op game. It's going to be kind of in that vein where you, I guess, will be various characters will have various sections, and you'll switch on and off between characters, which is very cool in my opinion. Everything that we got a teaser that was the song choice was perfect. It does say that it's going to be similar to her past games, so in the vein of Uncharted, in the vein of Jak and Daxter, that kind of linear, kind of wide linear, kind of story-driven action game, which perfect.
Yeah, like a universe where young Captain America knows Black Panther's grandfather is insane. I wonder if they're going to do the Flashpoint thing where, like, it's in the future and Black Panther Cap tells T'Challa, like, your grandfather would have been so proud of you.
And that's all I want from these Marvel games, man. Just give us a lived-in world, give us characters that we're familiar with, and take us on an adventure.
Yeah, so, I mean, that segues into the next piece for me, and the last thing I want to talk about the games is what was not shown, and that's the big three, in my opinion, for Star Wars / Marvel, which is Jedi Fallen Order 2, the Wolverine game, and Spider-Man 2. So they just showed a little sizzle reel with like 2-second clips of stuff we've already seen. And I mean, with the news that we just found out that State of Play is going to be in 2 days. Or
tomorrow.
Or tomorrow.
From where we're recording this.
Right, so
September the 13th.
Right, and this is going to be something I'm going to talk about when we get to the Marvel section, because I think things changed last second for some of the things. I gotta think maybe they did have some... Specifically Fallen Order, I can see them having footage for, because it's not a Sony exclusive game. So I could have, but now that State of Play is tomorrow, I do think that we're gonna get the first, like, look at Wolverine, like a full tried and true trailer, and like what the gameplay is gonna be. I'm hoping it's Red Dead Redemption, but Marvel and Wolverine, like, that would be such an insane game. And I think we're gonna get actual gameplay, because I think around this time, man, it's so insane to think of 6 years ago that we got the first Fist Tower fight for Spider-Man and everybody was losing their minds. They were like, oh my god, we're about to get like an incredible Spider-Man game. Yeah, I think it's going to be tomorrow. We're going to get like the full reveal of both those games, and because State of Play is just Sony, right?
Yes.
So we're probably not going to see anything for Fallen Order, but we already have a Fallen Order trailer. We're probably going to get sprinkled in gameplay, and that game's coming out in what, May of next year or the summer of next year?
I believe so. Yeah, summer of next year.
Yeah, we're pretty packed.
Yeah, we talked about it before, how packed 2023 is going to be in the gaming world. It's shaping up to be absolutely incredible. And yeah, I talked to you about earlier how I did think they were saving Spider-Man for a State of Play. Didn't know there was going to be one tomorrow at the time. But, because like I said to you earlier, Sony's kind of already released all the big things that they've been hyping up throughout the year. So Horizon Forbidden West has come out. The Last of Us Part 1 just came out. God of War is coming out in 2 months, about 2 months from now. So I doubt God of War will be shown at the State of Play. There's really no reason to at this point, unless they want to deep dive and kind of give off like a gameplay section. Right,
I think it's the same thing, like I said, with Spider-Man when the 2017, like, first, because the game's from 2018, they did that 2017 little, just like, they showed one mission. Like, I can see them showing like a small mission from God of War just to get the people excited, but that's what these expos are for. But the other thing is, like, if they don't show it, it's okay. Like, it's okay.
Because the thing that has kind of taken over gaming as far as big presentation is in December. It's the Game Awards. Yep. So Jeff Keighley has kind of assumed the mantle as like the Kevin Feige of games. So he shows up every 6 months at Summer Game Fest, and he shows up at the Game Awards, and he always has heaps of exclusives. And
is he Mariah Carey?
he has heaps of exclusives and reveals. So if they don't show anything off at the State of Play tomorrow, the Game Awards is certainly something that everyone's eyes will be on, because that's where so many major reveals happen. So that's the only thing I could see that might stave them off from showing off at a State of Play, is the Game Awards being in 3 months. So that could be something that they're gonna be like, here's 2023, and they just show everything there. So that's always possible. So let's move on to Disney. Regular Disney, original recipe Disney.
Yeah. I have a lot of things I want to say about this, because what Disney was like predicated on, and like, I don't know what did it to me, because I knew what the Marvel panel was going to be. You'd have a feeling what the Star Wars panel was going to be, but the thing that got lost in translation was the Disney panel. Like,
actual Disney, yeah.
Yeah, like, these are the stories that we grew up with and made Disney what it is, like the absolute powerhouse of media that it is. It's these stories that are being told, and now what this is we're getting so many of them in live action, and it's just the feeling it invokes is what I like, just what kept hitting me. So let's go through some of the stuff that they revealed.
Yeah, and when we get to that stuff, I do have kind of a thought about this stuff.
One in particular?
There's a couple, honestly. But let's start with Pixar, because Pixar obviously, revolutionized 3D animation, put out some of the best, absolutely best animated films of all time. That's not even a hyperbole.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What's your favorite Pixar movie? Maybe I should have saved this to the end of the Pixar, but what's your favorite one?
It's hard not to say Toy Story.
Okay.
Because that movie has such an attachment to my childhood. I think the first, 1, 2, and 3 are all spectacular. Yeah. Especially 3. And 3, it's just because I grew up with it. Right. So 3 came at a perfect time when I was getting older and I was entering my adulthood, and that's what that movie is essentially about. So yeah, it'd have to be Toy Story for me.
The Incredibles, I think, is one of the best Pixar movies. It's one of the best superhero movies of all time. It's just it's the aura of the old guard superhero that they captured incredibly well. And also what it did is talk about the golden age of superheroes versus the modern age. Passing that mantle to your kids is such this beautiful thing that they talked about. And just Mr. Incredible as your point of view character is just him just trying to raise a family in this super world that doesn't accept them anymore, I think is just really incredible. But everything that surrounds Pixar is just so good. Michael Giacchino just turned into the composer, who's somebody we're going to talk about later, believe it or not. But just down to the music, the writing, the animation itself, and how they evolved the animation throughout the years too. For them to not stay complacent on already a new animation style, akin to what the new animation style I think is going to turn popularized as the Into the Spider-Verse way of animating. But Pixar is really in it, in the realm of Disney, just one of their best IPs that they own.
Yeah, so that being said, we got Inside Out 2 is happening. Obviously, one of the most beloved Pixar films ever. As Pixar, edict dictates, very emotional, obviously, because it's a movie about emotions. Still can't bring up Bing Bong. It's a tough subject.
Especially to the Hulks.
But yeah, so this is going to feature Riley once again, entering her teens and, running it back, essentially. As you grow up, your emotions change and things become more prevalent than others, and that's basically what this movie's going to be about. I think that's a really great idea. I could see this continuing even further past her teenage years into her young adulthood, into her adulthood. It's a movie that feels very timeless, and a concept that feels very timeless. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Me too.
A couple new Pixar IPs. Yeah. So Elio.
This is the one I was really excited for.
Yeah, was unveiled. This is What If a Boy But He's in Space?
What If a Boy But He's in Space? What if Timothée Chalamet but animated?
It just captures that kind of Pixar magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about this one specifically because, like I just said, that's one thing that Disney they hit you when you're a child and they hold you for a while. What it is it's what I talked about last week of the understanding of what movies are and what they should be, their journeys, their journeys into mystery. It's such a fitting name that Stan Lee used, that journey into mystery. That's what these are supposed to be. So what better than a boy that stumbles in space? And I love the fact that it's new. It's a new thing. It's not something, because a lot of these things that we're going to get, as ever incredible in live action that some of these are going to be, there wasn't a lot of new stuff from Disney this time around. It's a lot of older IPs coming back. We're still on that train. Obviously you have Marvel and Star Wars, and then for the Disney realm, there's a lot of stuff that's coming back, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I think Pixar is just still with Soul. You had what was Luca? They're really just holding strong, and this seems like maybe their most consistent IP that they own is Pixar in terms of the quality content they put out every time.
Yeah, because it really feels like kind of the studio that they let the creativity flow.
Yeah, yep. And you know what's crazy? I feel it more now than ever. I feel like voices are being heard more now. Soul for me is the big one where that one felt that's the most I felt about a Pixar movie for me in a while. So
yeah, Soul, Moana, all these, crazy, just adventures that feature such a diverse group of people. I think it's awesome. And then speaking of diverse, this last one they showed off, Elemental. So what if elements had emotions?
Right.
So in a city where fire, water, land, and air live together, a fiery young woman and a go-with-the-flow guy are about to discover how much they actually have in common. So it's seems to be a classic kind of opposites attract kind of story. We didn't see a ton from it. There was footage shown at D23, but other than that, all we know is it's coming out next June. And yeah.
No, it looks...
it's going to be the next one. So it's the next Pixar movie that's being released is this one. So
cool.
We'll see more from that.
I just want to tack one on, and it's not Pixar, but it's still in the animation realm. The new Awaju is the new. It's supposed to be, the way it's being presented is it's going to be like this adventure tale, and it's supposed to be a portrait of Nigeria it's a futuristic portrait of Nigeria, which I think is an incredible idea.
Sounds really cool.
Talking about keeping voices alive, so stuff that. Obviously over there in 2023 is going to be so busy, and I can't wait to talk about all these stories, because it's important to talk about not like the same person doing the same thing over and over again. Like rounding out the edges of media is super important, because there's 7 billion different stories to be told, and like beyond that if you're creating new characters. So as soon as I saw that one, I was really excited about that one too, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to the more live action-y stuff. Mm-hmm. So Percy Jackson got a trailer.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess Percy Jackson's my bag, because like I feel like for you grew up more on like Harry Potter. Like for me, like when I was a kid, like Percy Jackson was the biggest thing. So I cannot wait to see that come to live action again. Obviously, we love Logan Lerman and what happened before, but I mean, Rick Riordan is like it's the same Sandman situation with Neil Gaiman. Like he's very in on this show. So again, you feel that, you get that Disney feel to this, like that true like adventure storytelling aspect. So I'm really looking forward to this. The cast looks great. I mean, you have the young kid from the Adam Project, so he's just, it feels like we're watching a star be born, like amongst our eyes. So this is all great stuff that's going to be told. Obviously, we're going off the Lightning Thief for this one, so I hope that one, what I'm thinking they're going to do is they're either going to split the Lightning Bolt or the Lightning Thief in half in terms of the book, or they're going to do like one book as one season. Like that I can see, and have the kids grow, because I think he's 14 or something right now, 14 or 15. Like I would love to see them get all the way to like the last couple books in there, and like have because we only got 2 movies out of Logan Lerman. Like I really want to see us grow with these characters and go along. Yeah, I totally agree. I thought it looked really good. I had good expectations for the series before we even saw anything from it. It's a fantastic kind of source material to draw from, and like you said, when you have your creator involved in these things, they tend to be successes, and especially so when you have a big multi-billion-dollar corporation backing your project. That doesn't hurt either, as we saw with The Sandman, which was an unbelievably expensive show. Right.
Percy Jackson will likely follow suit, being bankrolled by Disney, so that seems very exciting.
Yeah, and I hope, like I said, what I want them to end on, like, the epicness of what the last Olympian book was, like that in live action would be insane. So Percy Jackson's just got such like you said, he's got such a rich lore to pull from, and again, having Rick Riordan making sure everything's going, like have more of these creators with them. Like I hope getting to the point we are with Marvel, like I hope like Marvel starts doing that a little bit more, DC starts doing that a little bit more, like have the people that are making it be there a little bit more.
Yeah, because nobody knows the characters and stories better than them.
Right.
When it comes down to it. So we got to look at the new National Treasure series from Disney Plus. So this is a continuation of the National Treasure verse.
Yep. The National Treasure is now a universe.
It looks fun.
No, it does look fun. I mean, again, that's another movie set that I grew up with when I was a kid. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if Nick Cage is back for this.
They say no, but
I don't rule it out that he's coming back.
I wouldn't rule it out either.
Yeah. I know Nick Cage is in his indie bag right now, but no, it looks fun. We love journeys. We love journeys that not only the characters emotionally go on, but physically go on, and that's what National Treasure is. They got the Ben Franklin glasses back.
Yep, Catherine Zeta-Jones is back.
Yep.
So we follow a young girl, Jess. She's in search for answers about her family and embarks on an adventure of a lifetime. Sounds very
National Treasure.
National Treasure. So I love when things that are brought back invoke the thing that they're inspired by.
That's all we can ask for, right?
Yeah, looks National Treasure. So.
Yep.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm in on that. I really want to watch all the that's what I want to make sure next year's about is watching all these things and giving you guys our perspective, because I guess we're not as mad at everything as people are.
No, absolutely not. And then we got our little kind of quintuplet of remakes and
the bag
and sequels and prequels and so. I don't even know where to start with this. So we have a David Lowery-led Peter Pan and Wendy.
So you told me Peter Pan and Wendy, and I'm like, all right, cool. And then you say David Lowery, and I'm like, wait a minute. You mean David Lowery from The Green Knight, David Lowery?
Yeah, so what even is this? So this is a 2022 film, so this is coming...
Yeah.
Either this year or later, or early next year. Jude Law's in this.
Jude Law is in this,
He's Captain Hook. Alan Tudyk is in this as also Captain Hook.
Wait a minute, is this the Peter Paniverse?
Jim Gaffigan is Smee, which is fun. And then Ever Gabo Anderson and Alexander Maloney are the titular Peter and Wendy. And I don't know what this is going to be.
Yeah, I love the mystique of how David Lowery makes his movies. There's I don't know if this is a proper way to say it, but there's this fog around this movie, this metaphorical fog. He uses this a lot in Ghost Story, which is really cool. So I think you can add that, especially for some of the ship sequences. You're going into the unseen dangers of the world that you're in. So could be a cool portrait to kind of lay over this. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Who knows?
Who's to say?
That's the thing. But I guess I'll get into it now. So at what point do we get to the land of diminishing returns?
Yeah,
with these live action Disney remakes, because they keep hooking you. Look at this. We're remaking Aladdin. We're remaking Beauty and the Beast. We're remaking Pinocchio. Yep. We're remaking Dumbo. We're remaking The Lion King.
Yep.
And none of them have really been great. Some of them have been good. Mm-hmm. I think the Aladdin one was pretty...
Yeah, it was fun.
It was decent.
It was fun.
A couple of them have been not so great.
Yeah,
the Lion King one was not great.
And specifically, recently, Pinocchio's been going through the ringer for critics and fans alike. So
they announced a bunch of these.
Yeah.
So Snow White has been announced.
Yep.
As a live action remake. Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot have been in this. Yep. I'm looking forward to Rachel Zegler specifically because of the work she did on West Side Story. I think she's got a very incredible voice, so I can really see her pulling off the Snow White effect. Yeah. Gal Gadot's also in this. Yes. Interesting choice, for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's just, again, like I said, at what point, how many of these do we have to go through before people are just not seeing them? Yeah, and or are they just gonna keep seeing them because, again, it's the carrot and off the fishing pole thing. They keep, because people, again, it's that banking on nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Are they just gonna keep cranking these out? Right. So or where do we go? I mean, that's what I wanted to wait until after, because I'm assuming you're saving Little Mermaid for last. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about because I'm liking a lot of this stuff. I like the way a lot of these things look. Once we get into the Lucasfilms part of it, because in the Lucasfilms, it's not just Star Wars, it's also Indy 5 and it's Willow. But there's one big gripe I have with all this stuff, but I'll wait until after we get into that portion of the Lucasfilm, because we'll save Star Wars for last. So we're getting a Mufasa prequel? So, all right. So I'm torn. I'm super torn. Go ahead, because there's a first part and a second part to this. Yeah, so we're getting the Timon and Pumbaa that were in the live action in air quotes Lion King are returning for this. So I'm quite unclear on where this is in the timeline, the Lion King timeline. Maybe they're kids. I don't know. Kids with adult voices. And then most notably, Barry Jenkins is directing this.
Clear out. Let me talk about my favorite director in the world, Barry Jenkins, and that's not hyperbole. He is my favorite director. He's the guy that got me to... His movie specifically got me to want to make movies, so I love Barry Jenkins. Anything that he touches, I think, turns to gold. There's this realm of realism, and like this... It's the craziest thing, like... What he's able to do, it's like realism, just and then layered on top with like just this mystique. Like, I don't know how he does it. He makes he makes real life feel like a dream sequence, or vice versa. Like, he's incredible. So that's the thing that's really saving this for me, is like, you're pulling one of the most world-renowned filmmakers to do this right now. So that's the thing and he's been very open about being very excited. This is the biggest by far project he's doing. I think he said logistically Underground Railroad was like logistically, because that was like they were shooting it and then COVID shut it down, and he had therapists on that set. Like, it was just like emotionally a taxing shoot on top of physically being a taxing shoot. But now this is like, now you're in the mainstream. Now you're with Disney now for this, and doing one of the most beloved franchises in there of all time. So James Earl Jones is not back to do Mufasa,
which, like I said, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I gotta think that Chiwetel Ejiofor is gonna do Scar again.
Yeah,
if they're gonna bring out Billy Eichner and who was it? It's
Seth Rogen.
And Seth Rogen for Timon and Pumbaa. I gotta think that Chiwetel Ejiofor is gonna be Scar, but who's gonna play Mufasa? We'll see. Maybe it's Mr. Bones from Stargirl, Keith David.
Yeah, we'll see. That's gonna be interesting, and obviously this is a movie that, what story is there to tell?
Right.
Obviously, it's gonna be the path that Mufasa took to be king. I think that character. It's so weird talking about an animated lion like this.
Right.
But that character needs, if you're going to do this, that character does need some exploration and depth. Mm-hmm. Because in The Lion King, he's kind of this almost ethereal kind of perfect vision of what a leader is, what a king is.
Like, he's the king of like the lions, the king of the jungle, and then you add like the greatest aspects of like what a leader can do on top of that, like for humans. So
people aren't born that way. They aren't born perfect and magnanimous. So
unless you're Steve Rogers,
right?
Is he perfect?
He did lie to Iron Man.
He did lie to Iron Man, and he did lose his virginity before marriage.
Controversial.
Captain America.
Hold on. We're talking about the Lion King.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, again, it's intriguing.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have a lot of, especially with the Lion King, they have some like work to do, because I don't think that's a property that benefits from doing quote unquote live action.
Yeah,
because
I can see that.
That movie took a lot of life out of those characters.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough because the thing they were banking on is like people being attached to the fact this looks so real, but that's not what people were going in for for the Lion King movie. They were going to be attached to these characters they fell in love with when they were children.
And when they can't emote, it takes a lot of the emotion out of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this. It's this really good, interesting thing that I really want to get after is like, what I'm feeling? People are growing up, and I think who's suffering from this the most right now? Marvel fans are suffering from this the most, because those Marvel fans I think I'm probably the prime age to think about this, because I'm not going to disclose my age, but I guess I'm younger. So the way that 2008 Iron Man, you could probably do the math, but what was I? I think I was 10. I was 9 or 10 when that movie came out. So I was literally in the formative years in my life all the way up to Endgame. So now I'm older. So what the thing is I'm getting at is now you're using real world logic. When you're a kid, you're not thinking about rights to characters and visual effects. You're thinking about those journeys. And that's what I was trying to hammer home so hard last week, is the things you're growing up with. Dave Filoni has my favorite thing to argue that is you're taking away you're making the stories from when I was a kid childish. And he's like, what did you say? From when you were a kid? But again, to that point, it does feel a little cheap that we're going to the well on this again and again. And the big thing that I'll wait for you to talk about Little Mermaid, because I really...
That's what we're going to talk about right now.
There's one big point that
That's coming
at.
now.
Yeah.
So we got a full kind of look at well, not a full look, but we got a look at this Little Mermaid. So we got the kind of the beginning of the song, where the people are, beautifully sung.
Oh my gosh.
By the way.
So Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry. If you go follow Halle Berry on Twitter, she's absolutely hilarious. Like, any world event that's going on, like, she just always has some, like, just a hilarious take on it. But apparently people thought Halle Berry was playing her.
They're like, she's too old.
She's too old and she doesn't look like Ariel. I'm like, she's like, what did I do? I'm just buying my business. I was just watching my Catwoman rerun.
But yeah, that was a beautiful voice.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Halle Bailey. She's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, so that one you can do in live action because it's human characters that you were doing.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think out of all of these, this is the one that intrigues me the most.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this is a story that works, a story that really holds up. Mm-hmm. And it feels like with each of these that have come out so far, there's been some Achilles heel.
Yep.
To every single one of them. So, like, Aladdin, for instance, too much focus on the guy that wasn't, like, a part of the original movie, that they made, like, Jafar's kind of, like, underling and, like, the smarmy prince kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Where did that guy come from?
Right.
Mulan, they took all the music out of it.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Like, I understood what they were going for, but you gotta keep the spirit of the thing in there somewhere.
Yep.
The Lion King, I talked about. Made it too photorealistic. Yeah. So each of these has come with, the genesis of it is there, but you guys just keep deciding to do a thing that takes us out of it. Right. And I'm curious if this is the one that maybe can put it together.
Yeah. The thing that stinks is the mystique that's around this one is a bigger
racism.
It's a bigger issue that a lot of things, but Lord of the Ring most recently is suffering from, is that
the racism.
These characters that just aren't real. You guys need to look one way. You're talking about a talking lobster, but Halle Bailey having braids is the issue.
Yeah, and if you're looking for accurate to the lore, go look up the Hans Christian Andersen version of The Little Mermaid. Yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about your lore accurate Little Mermaid.
Right.
She can be black.
Yeah. She's a mermaid.
She's a mermaid.
Yeah, like
she can be black.
Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual lore of this character. None. There's not one. It's not even a 0.001% of accuracy you need to make. No. Make her whatever she can make her an alien. It doesn't matter. Like,
there's no reason that she has to be white.
Right.
Whiteness is not part of her story.
No. And what you're looking for is an angelic voice, which she just put on display, in my opinion.
Man, floored me.
Had me.
I mean, I know she could sing, but good Lord.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think out of all of them, this is the one I'm most intrigued by because it, at least from that little bit, mm-hmm. It felt like The Little Mermaid. Yeah. They got the music, they got the water.
Yeah, they had the water in this. the water's prevalent in this. I can't wait for the scene when she comes out and, like, the ocean splashes over her. Like, that's probably going to be a really screen grabbed part of that movie.
The bit where she gets legs?
Man.
Yeah, that's the one. All these other ones that got announced, like the Mufasa thing is intriguing, but like I'm not like, ooh. But like this one, I'm like, I'm kind of in on this one.
I'm biased towards the Mufasa one because of Barry Jenkins, but this one I do agree. Like, this one kind of has me right now. But this is my thing, right? There's besides like Elio and a couple other projects, there is nothing new. There's
not on the Disney side.
Yes, and this is a Hollywood thing. This is a huge issue with Hollywood in general and modern storytelling. I called it. I knew it was going to happen, and a lot of people knew it was going to happen. It's literally what nostalgia is. It's the Black Mirror episode did it. It's good. Well, it's good for a little bit, but there's nothing new that comes of it. You're just calling upon old emotions that you had, and as much as we love it, and it's cool, funny, because I'm going to talk about what we watched. I watched Cobra Kai season 5. It works. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And what this is doing now is like nothing feels new. There's no new universes. There's no new stories. There's no new lore. It's just rehashes of what we've already had. Like, I desperately hope that we get new stories that are being told. Like, it's so sad. Like, again, it's award season and it's film festival season. So, we just had Toronto, we had Venice, TIFFs going on. Like, we're about to get a bunch of film festivals one after another. And it's funny how, like, how standoffish those are. Like, the mainstream audience will never hear it. Like, Steven Spielberg's got a new movie. We got the Devotion movie with Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell. Like, we have The Whale with Brandon Fraser. Like, there's a lot of great stories that are being told, but it's just, they're not mainstream. Like, the one that really excited me was Empire of Light. So Sam Mendes' new movie, with Roger Deakins shooting it. That movie looks absolutely incredible, but that's not something for a mainstream audience. And I mean, that interview that Matt Damon did on Hot Ones with Sean Evans a couple weeks ago, like, he said it, he's like, I never thought in my life that I would have to bank on a rom-com. Like, you don't bank on superhero movies, they're gonna make money. Like, I have to bank on a rom-com? Like, that was the bag. Like, that was the thing to do. Like, the other thing was the thing that you were nervous about, but that's the state of storytelling now.
Yeah, it's so difficult for kind of these, like, a new original idea to break through the mainstream. It's really difficult. You know, the closest one that's come has been Top Gun Maverick, and even that's built upon the back of something that came before. Yeah,
nothing feels like... I'm trying to think of anything, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once, but again, like, it's pretty mainstream just because how popular the movie got, but it's not like... It's not going to reach these heights of, like, being a Disney property, but it's a two-way street. I think it's half, like... It's on the studios to make sure those stories get told, but also Warner Brothers is going through this. You got to always think about, for them, like, I don't blame them for being businessmen. Like, as much as I don't love their decision making, I don't blame them for being, like, you got to protect your business and what sells in your business. Like, you're not going to put out stuff that doesn't. DC sells, like. Those stories sell. Like, that's just the way it goes right now.
Yeah.
Disney understands, like, people are going to see live action Little Mermaid. They're going to see a live, quote unquote, live action Mufasa. Like, they are, as much as they might complain, sometimes they don't care about what the critics, like, their movie already made the money and everybody saw it. So that's all they needed. They did their side. So, and then the other way is us. Like, us being so comfortable, like, getting these stories and, like, how we ridicule them, like, or how we love them, like, that's not going to get anything new made. It's just going to get the same thing made over and over again. Like, Morbius. We never had a live action Morbius. It's fine. We'll allow it. You know Morbius was supposed to be in Blade too?
Yes, I do.
Yep. Oh man. But no, it is a little sad. Like I said, like, Spielberg's got a new movie coming. All these incredible directors, like, new and old directors, but all their stories are new. Like, they're going onto their laptops and writing these incredible stories, and people just aren't going to see them. They get minimal releases. I mean, remember that Doctor Strange tweet, and it showed, like, a full day in a theater was just all Doctor Strange. There was no other movies. Like, yeah, it
seems to be a wholly cinema issue, because TV really doesn't have this problem.
Yeah, TV gets a lot of their, but I mean, TV's in the realm of, like, they understand what works and they keep doing it. Like, they keep giving you similar like, they give you a lot of the same stories and, like, older characters coming back.
Yeah, but, you know, when you look at it, feels like I can count more TV shows that have had original kind of ideas that broke through the mainstream as opposed to movies like Stranger Things,
right?
Or, you know, Squid Game,
Euphoria,
you know, whereas films, that hasn't really happened.
I mean, the answer to that, in my opinion, is the streaming service, or the idea of the streaming service, because cinema's one thing. It's like you release it in a movie. It's not like But for TV shows now, instead of it just being on, like, HBO or MTV or AMC, now it's like you have like 10 different streaming services. Like, this creator that just broke through in Hollywood can have their project released on.
Yeah. Is that it for Disney?
I think that's it for Disney.
So segueing to...
I think we got Avatar. We had an Avatar 2 panel.
Yep.
I just watched the Avatar trailer. Man. Oh, it feels so incredible to watch that every single time. That world is, I mean, talk about new projects at the time in 2008. I mean, you made the greatest point last week about that. Like, you got to think in 2008, people were like, this is it? Like, this is the craziest thing we've seen in live action. That's why it just stuck for so long. I told you,
Avatar 2 is going to be an interesting test case.
Yeah, yep.
And what the future looks like as far as, like, the movie-going experience.
Right.
Because if this flops... That's going to say a lot.
Yeah.
That's going to say a lot.
I got to see I want to see which makes more money, this or Black Adam. I think that's going to be a good case study, because the superhero movie that only has The Rock in its corner and Pierce Brosnan and Viola Davis as the thing, versus the movie that was the king of the movies for a while. Or the queen of the movies. That's 2.
Moving on to Lucasfilms and Star Wars in particular, but we did get a little Indiana Jones. We didn't get much. Personally, the viewing audience didn't get much.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford was emotional.
Right. That's my goal for next year for us is we're going to be there.
Harrison Ford was emotional. He really loves Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to it.
I just was watching Raiders. I'm trying to focus for like the last quarter of the year. I'm trying to focus on my older franchises. Like I really want to run back Lord of the Rings so I could watch Rings of Power. I really want to watch Harry Potter again. I really want to watch, and I've started with Indiana Jones. Man, I love Steven Spielberg, but you gotta feel like, because Star Wars was this ensemble versus Indy was him. Like he was the embodiment of Indiana Jones. Like you talk about a hero journeying out, like the hero's journey for Indy was one of the most classic ones of all time. So Harrison Ford is just synonymous with that. He's the adventurer to me. Like that's how I feel about it. Like he's the guy that goes out and solves the national treasure. No, but he finds these treasures. Like he's this explorer.
He's got the whip.
He's got the whip.
He's got a gun.
Yeah, but James Mangold is directing this movie. Phenomenal. Is this James Mangold's thing? So you get a character that everybody loves, and you do the last thing they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So does that mean James Mangold's gonna do my theorized All-Star Superman movie with Henry Cavill?
He might.
Do it, James Mangold.
So that's exciting. And then we get into Star Wars stuff. So Ahsoka.
Wait, you didn't talk about Willow.
Oh yeah, Willow was shown.
Yeah. Is it just Game of Thrones, but Lucasfilm? Just Disney?
Yeah, it's magical, it's mystical, it's based on a book. So looks interesting.
Yeah, it does look interesting. They had Carly Morgenthau from Falcon and the Winter Soldier in there.
I didn't know the Willow bag was that
vast?
Deep?
Yeah.
But yeah. Here we are.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Yeah.
2023 is gonna be absolutely packed.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. So Ahsoka was shown off a little bit. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni talked about it a bit. Jon Favreau hyped up the lightsaber fights, which gets the nerds excited.
Yeah. It's me, I'm the nerds.
He also described this as Filoni's magnum opus.
And when you put Filoni and magnum opus in the same sentence, you got something incredible on your hands.
And then we got some casting for Ezra Bridges. So Eman Esfandi has been cast as Ezra. A lot of people speculated Ezra would be returning in this. He is. Obviously, this is basically just a live-action continuation of Rebels. That's what this basically is. We've talked about Ahsoka a bunch on this podcast. She's easily the most beloved extended universe character.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
By far. It's not
Yaddle?
Not Yaddle.
Oh, okay.
She's in the top 3 and she's not 3 or 2. Ahsoka is 1.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about Ahsoka a little bit more, even a little bit. We got another Andor trailer.
Yeah. I'm getting a little bit more on board with this show. And it's just, they're sticking to their guns. That's probably the best thing I can say. Like, they are adamant. This is like a spy thriller in the Star Wars universe. And what it's doing, it's really rounding out the edges of that universe pretty well. Like, now we have, you look at, this is going to be a 24 episode spy adventure leading into Rogue One. 24 episodes?
24 episodes, though?
Don't talk about Daredevil that way. But yeah, it physically looks absolutely incredible. Use the sound stages, and they said, like, we were going on location for a lot of this stuff. Like, see, that's another thing with Disney that I hope they get back to doing. Like, go on location. Like, you look at what Lucasfilms was doing in, like, the 70s, 80s, like, I'm talking about cinema as a whole in like, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like, specifically the late 70s into the 80s, like, either build your sets or go on location. Like, have these worlds be something that people can feel, like, and there's actual danger and stakes, not just a CGI background. Like, I think that's super important. The Batman did that really well with using the sound stages, and like that Gotham felt so lived in. You talk about Christopher Nolan's Gotham it was just Chicago. So it felt real. So do more of that. That's what's working, and I think that's the biggest compliment I can give to Andor without seeing it so far.
We're getting it next week.
Yep, 3 episodes.
3 episodes next week.
Yeah,
so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we gotta make a business decision if we talk about Umbrella Academy or if we talk about Rogue One and Andor.
That is tough. I do kind of want to talk about Rogue One.
Yeah, me too. It's what. where did I rank it? I have it somewhere on my phone. I think it's my third favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And it's not any lower because of Donnie Yen specifically. I'm the Force is one with me.
Bad Batch Season 2 is coming out in January.
Did you finish Bad Batch?
Did I? I don't think so.
Me neither. But the first couple episodes of that show was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're getting a Season 2 of that. Again, on another thing on the animated front, which we knew was coming, but we got a proper look at, Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So this is from, obviously in the vein of the Clone Wars and Rebels, and the Bad Batch brings you this, which again feels very Ahsoka Tano focused. Yep. So the Clone Wars cast is back.
Yep.
For Dooku, Mace Windu, Anakin, and Ahsoka. So Ashley Eckstein is coming back to voice Ahsoka, which is great. I know people were thrilled about that. This looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. And what it's doing is it's an anthology without being an anthology. To me, anthology is like characters we've never seen before, like
kind
characters
of like
younger.
What was that other Star Wars show that they did?
Oh, Visions.
Yeah.
Visions. So what this is essentially is it's kind of, we're finally like looking at Count Dooku's origin story and kind of his upbringing and as soon as I watched the trailer, the first thing I thought is like, we're finally going to see like, it's going to finally, add some credence to Dooku's story, because what it's going to do for me is like, it's going to tell this tale of like, he was a Jedi. He's not just like Christopher Lee evil, like, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, like,
there's a lot there.
Yeah, that's why the Acolyte I'm like excited to see, and like how they kind of do those characters, because how it looks is they're not eternally evil. Like something has to snap it. Like we've seen it with Anakin most famously, but like something has to snap for them to get to that point. So I really want to see that with Dooku's character.
I'm so intrigued by that.
Yeah, that was like
a fun idea,
because we've gotten so much of Ahsoka where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We get more Ahsoka stuff. Obviously, they probably did that, because we're gonna get live action Ahsoka. Like it's like how comic books do it when movies are coming out, they'll like push it, but like this Dooku stuff particularly feels like it's going to be...
Liam Neeson's back?
Liam Neeson is back.
So he's voicing Qui-Gon again, obviously after making his grand return to the Star Wars universe in the Obi-Wan show.
You saw the behind the scenes pictures?
Yes.
Oh man.
So good. And then rounding out the Star Wars news, obviously the big kahuna, The Mandalorian Season 3. We got a full trailer. Yep. The king is back.
Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all must have forgot.
Any kind of, holding back that you might have felt like, oh no, is this gonna be reach the heights that too? I am a little nervous that people are gonna judge whatever this show is based off episode 16, because it's the new hype train way of thinking of things. Like they did what Marvel doesn't do a lot of the time. They did the thing, like they bought the big cameo in for this, like the biggest of big guns in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
so,
but, now that we're going into Season 3, we ended Season 2 on that note.
Yep.
But then we resolved it in the Book of Boba Fett.
And Mandalorian Season 2.5. What was the Book of Boba Fett? Man.
It was a show that happened.
Oh my gosh. They just turned into I will never forget reviewing that one, and I was like, they just turned it into the like, they didn't even feel like regret over it. Like, that was just a full out end season of The Mandalorian.
And you could tell there were some people that didn't watch it.
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
they were like, they saw the show and they're like, why are they back together again?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett, did you? So I think those fears of mine are kind of alleviated, because this feels
100%.
This feels like kind of a return to form. This feels like Mandalorian Season 1, but like on a bigger scale. Mm-hmm. This is just going to be about him. Mm-hmm. And obviously the fight for I guess essentially this is going to be like a civil war. Yeah, no, it's a really good way to kind of think about. It gives you a lot of insight into the other faction of the Mandalorians too, and kind of how they're opposed to Jin's way of thinking. Like they're very open. Like, you're a cult. Like you're a part of a cult. Like, this isn't the way that Mandalore should have been. Like, you're the reason why everybody's dead, not us. And I hope because this is what House of the Dragon is doing so well right now. They have a lot of gray characters. Yeah. That's what House of the Dragon has. You don't know. It's taking you out of that mindset of good guys and bad guys. It's just people existing in this universe, and I hope that's what Mandalorian Season 3 is going to do. Yeah. I don't want them to make Bo-Katan a wholly villainous character.
Yeah.
Like, I want her to be kind of compelling and being like, have people be like, maybe she is right. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she has a point. Maybe Din Djarin isn't walking the right path.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the other thing for Din as well too is he's on that father quest now. Like, he's like full-fledged this child's father. And I mean, I love that point you just made about him being wrong or right. Like, I don't think it's that simple, but if you want to think about it as wrong or right, like from her perspective, the Mandalorians are evil. No, but seriously, from her perspective, he's living like he's really killed them. Like, his faction just kind of gave them a bad name. And I mean, also, she could be off a solid power trip this season because she does have the Darksaber now. Like, and he has the Darksaber, and and she's trying to get it. So that's obvious. Yeah, give me the Darksaber. Give it here.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, no, that's not how any of this works. That's not how Mandalore works.
Giancarlo Esposito's coming back.
Yes,
as Moff Gideon.
Yeah, we're getting Carl Weathers back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not getting Gina Carano back?
I thought you were going to leave it out, but you left it in.
Good.
Man, that scene where they're dropping out of the ship is so cool. It looks... So, I will give Star Wars this as a whole. Their shows are starting to, like, blow the Marvel shows that look out of the water. Yeah. Like, they look incredible.
Yeah, they're doing laps.
Yeah.
They're doing laps around the Marvel stuff.
Use the sound stages. They look good.
This is the way.
Mm-hmm. Grogu's back. You know who you're excited for.
Babu Frick is back.
Babu Frick from Rise of Skywalker's back.
You're Babu Frick from Rise of Skywalker.
The best character in Rise of Skywalker's back.
I can't wait. I don't know how he's being inserted, but
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's back.
Amy, what's her last name? The robot lady. She's back. What's her last name?
I forget.
If I just search Robot Lady Mandalorian, you think it's going to come up?
It probably will. It would be kind of funny if it does.
Not Robot Mandalorian? Because I'm sure there is one.
We are going to get are we going to get K2SO and Andor?
I think they said they're waiting till season 2 to do that.
That's fine. As long as Alan Tudyk's back, that's all we care about. Cassian said I had to. Congratulations, you've been saved.
Not Wikipedia not giving me an actor.
Did you say Wikipedia? I need some whole...
Amy Sedaris.
Oh, okay. You know what you got to put over what we just did for the last 30 seconds? You got to put the elevator wait music behind that. It's gonna make it much funnier.
Yeah. So she's back. Babu Frick is back. The Mandalorian's back. The not Mandalorian. He's back.
Boba Fett's not back.
Oh.
That we know of. Maybe he could come back.
Fennec Shan's not back.
Nope.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Ming-Na 1 is amazing though.
Oh my gosh. I'm watching, I'll talk about my MCU rewatch. We're on Luke Cage now. I got some did you just dab? Man. What is Luke Cage is so I got some thoughts on Luke Cage because the first 8 episodes are real good, but I don't want to say it. I don't like Mike Coulter as much as I did when the show was coming out.
Oh no.
I don't think it's his fault.
That's fair. All right. Let's save. We saved the best for last.
Yeah.
Or did we? Was Star Wars actually the best? Plot twist.
Yeah. To some people, it was.
So Marvel arrived. Big fanfare. Mm-hmm. Big balloons.
Kevin Feige had his hat on. So he means business.
He brought his best baseball cap.
Yeah.
First things first. We didn't get anything for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way. Matt Shakman is directing it.
Surprise, surprise. We knew this already.
Yeah, Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto are on the set of Star Trek 4, and they're like...
Where'd he go?
Where's the director?
He got yanked.
And J.J. Abrams walks in and is just like...
oh no!
Yeah, somehow J.J. Abrams returned.
Yeah, so that was the only Fantastic Four related thing that got announced, was the thing that we already knew. Mm-hmm. So, that's it. Deal with it.
Yep.
So Black Panther Wakanda Forever, we kind of got a bigger, kind of scale of what that's going to be. Mm-hmm. The cast was there, talked about some things. Kevin Feige called this the biggest thing they've ever done.
Yep.
I think people are taking that out of proportion.
Right. I think it's emotionally the biggest thing that they've ever done. Yes. I don't think if you use context clues, I think that Marvel fans failed. Did he see Avengers Endgame? I think you know where he wasn't? At home in his mom's basement when Avengers Endgame came out. Like you are.
God. People.
It's getting bad. It's getting real bad.
Yeah, poor Brie Larson.
Poor Brie Larson is right.
It's just defeated.
Yeah,
at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like I said about my point earlier about growing up with these movies, like I did. The people my age are getting real mad now, And like, because like they're starting to use critical thinking, I'm like, why didn't you use that when Star-Lord won a like a universe battle with dancing?
Ugh.
It's getting real bad.
It is. And yeah. So Wakanda Forever, we got just better looks, better,
right,
better feel for the plot.
Yeah, so they showed off a fight between Tenoch Huerta as Namor. He looks so cool as Namor. That costume design is really well done. I love the way that they're using Aztec culture to present his character versus Winston Duke as M'Baku, who's back. So
versus Vincent Duke as Winston Duke. Winston Duke, the actor.
Winston Duke, the actor.
They got to a fight on set and they just filmed it.
Oh, it's Us again. It's Jordan Peele's Us again. No. He already went through the ringer in that movie. He doesn't need to do it again.
Yeah, by all accounts, it's a spectacular kind of fight.
Yep, and then the other thing that they showed was Angela Bassett, she's back as Queen Ramonda, in the scene that we saw in the movie. But the way the scene's edited in the movie, I guess, is she's talking as the other scene of the Dora Milaje fighting those soldiers. So apparently, like, she's at wherever that meeting is, UN, whatever it is, and and I guess the big plot of this movie is, or one of the big plots is the people thinking that Wakanda is vulnerable now that the king's gone. So they're like, all right, so now we're going to take the vibranium because they wouldn't give it to us earlier. And her being like, oh, you would have thought. And then the Dora Milaje's being like, yeah, you guys thought you could have this? Not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
That movie, I think, is shaping up to be pretty spectacular.
It looks like, it physically looks incredible. Like, I remember, like, when they walked out of the shadows in the first trailer, I was like, oh my god, yeah, they spent some time filmmaking, like actually filmmaking.
Ryan Coogler, ladies and gentlemen.
People forgot how great of a filmmaker Ryan Coogler was. That's something that you talked about. Like, they really forgot that at 25, 26, he made Fruitvale Station. He made Creed 1, which I think is, in terms of this nostalgia realm, like, that's one of the first in terms of that, like, nostalgia callback era that we're in, and he did, in my opinion, a really great job with it. Mm-hmm. And then Black Panther, obviously, is one of the biggest movies of all time. Stop, Top Gun. Don't think about it. Don't try it.
Don't try it. You underestimate my F-18. So we got a little more talk about Ironheart, obviously, which
led right from Wakanda Forever into Ironheart.
Riri Williams is going to.
She's in what?
She's in the movie.
She's in the movie.
So this is going to be. We talked about. They kind of confirmed that this is going to be the battle between technology and magic.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler bought out Anthony Ramos. Officially now is confirmed to play Parker Robbins, the Hood. You're looking at me as the biggest Arrow fan in the world. He's not Oliver Queen. You're Robert Queen's son, Oliver Queen, aren't you? You're Oliver Queen from DC Comics, aren't you?
What are you doing in Ironheart?
It's the wrong Hood, guys.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be fun.
Yep. Parker Robbins. He's gonna be an interesting character. I think Anthony Ramos he's like on his ascent as an actor. So this is a cool role for him to have. I think there's gonna be a lot of like I said, like the mystical realm of the MCU is really starting to form really well, so it's gonna be cool. I wonder if Catherine Hahn's gonna show up in this at any point to be an advisor.
Possibly.
She just seems like she's like knows what's going on.
Catherine Hahn,
specifically Catherine, not Agatha Harkness, Catherine Hahn herself.
So we got some more stuff from Ant-Man and QuantumMania.
Man. So I love that even the actors know, like, I think they all know that they're on to something special with Jonathan Majors. Like, the way that they all talk about him is just like, we've really got like
he's scary.
Yeah, we've got our new age Josh Brolin in here. You're Josh Brolin from Dune.
Yeah, from all, everything that people have been saying about this movie, it's going to be, big, massive film.
There's another heist.
This is another heist? It's a quantum heist?
Yeah. So apparently the footage was basically the same from SDCC, but the only thing they added was a little bit more. They said that Jonathan Majors as Kang, like, looks just stupid good. And it's like there's like this fear around him. Like you get this feeling that, like, physically Thanos is this threat, but like there's something that's more to Kang. Like it's what I think it's like the inevitability of it. Like, you can't stop time itself. Like that's something you can't physically fight. So it's going to be really cool to look at. And then apparently this is being like shown as like Kang's going to use Ant-Man. He's like, I need you to get something for me. I have a feeling that it might be Ravonna, like, cause I mean, from the comics, like, that's his love. It's like a big piece of what happens in like the 70s, 80s, or the 80s comics for Kang. So I think that's going to be the thing. Like, it's not a what. It's funny that I just played The Last of Us, and that's kind of what happened too. But it's like, it's not a what I need you to get. It's a who I need you to get.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe this guy's maybe that's the whole reason Secret Wars happened. This guy's just in love.
Yeah, and they did confirm that this will lead directly into Kang Dynasty. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a direct tie-in to that film.
But before it leads into Kang Dynasty, the next thing that was shown and the next thing it led into was Loki Season 2. Mm-hmm. And we've got some confirmation that everybody's back. Your favorites are back. Yep. Jonathan Majors is back, but in a different way. Yep. And now, and this is where I think we're going to start to see Kang showing up as different versions of himself all over the place. We're going to see Jonathan, like 2023 and 2024 are just going to be Jonathan Majors just everywhere. So yeah, Ke Huy Quan of Indiana Jones fame. And obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once recently fame is going to be in this movie.
Fantastic casting choice.
He fits the mold of what Loki was, like the comedy of Loki. Like, he fits that very well. Obviously, he's the multiverse guy now with Michelle Yeoh. But I love he walked out on stage. He's just like, this is the Indiana Jones panel.
He took our bit.
He did take our bit. Come on, Ke Huy Quan. Maybe we can get Ke Huy Quan as our first guest on here.
I would love that.
Yeah. He just seems like a wonderful person.
Yeah. That's great news. Great news for Loki Season 2.
Yeah, it's so apparently he's being like pulled through time a little bit. The TVA is like in shambles. So we'll see. Ke Huy Quan is a TVA employee in this. So obviously there's probably more to that for his character if they're going to introduce him like that.
Right.
So we'll see if he plays somebody from the comics, if he's just a new creation for the show. We'll see who else shows back up in the show. And yeah, more Jonathan Majors, please. I ordered Jonathan Majors. We have Jonathan Majors at home, and it's like a picture of Rama Tut versus Kang. We got Jonathan Majors at home.
Werewolf by Night. Let's talk about this.
Oh my God.
I would say the pleasant surprise of D23, because they showed it off. They showed us a full trailer, and it looks really, really great.
So this is just a 1930s, 40s, 50s Frankenstein horror movie special.
Yep.
That's it.
October 7th. It's coming out in less than 4 weeks.
And you know who's directing this? Michael Giacchino you're Michael Giacchino from score fame, from movie music fame.
And now you're directing.
Now you're directing.
You're directing a Werewolf by Night series.
I want to know how the pitch was. Do you think they came... He definitely had to go to them.
It feels like it, because this feels very different from literally anything.
What if I had... here's my theory, right? So I think that they were like, all right, Michael Giacchino, you want to do any Disney Plus work? And he's just like, sure, I'll score something. He's like, we're going to do a Werewolf by Night show. And I bet this Werewolf by Night show is really normal to start with. It was just going to be darker, kind of like Moon Knight. Cool, right? And he's like, can I direct it? And they were like, well, Michael Giacchino, you've made us money. You've won some Oscars. Sure. He's like, can I just make it like a 50s horror show? And they're like, yeah, fine. You won us. You won us over.
It's in black and white. It's got the creepy horror music.
Bro, it's so... it's kind of... it's a little cheesy. It's so cool.
It's a little schlocky looking.
Yeah.
But it looks really good.
Man, are those... So, all right, I got a question. Are those TVA agents in there?
That seems to be the prevailing theory.
Because... I'm so confused and in the best possible way. Man-Thing, the MCU debut of Man-Thing, that's so cool.
Great. I'm for it.
I'm so for it, yeah. Do Blade like this. Yeah, if you guys aren't cowards, do Blade like this.
Ooh, yeah.
Do the whole Blade movie like this.
That would be great.
They would never do it, but...
Hell no. But it would be fun. Secret Invasion. Got a trailer.
So... Yeah, I do think that Secret Invasion was... I think they were going to do a Nick Fury show, but then they were like, you know what? Let's just do Secret Invasion because of how connected that Nick Fury was in Captain Marvel. So.
He's all over this trailer.
Yeah, this is it. This is Sam Jackson's final... this is his Black Widow, where he finally gets to be the main character of something he's in.
Yep.
So, Don Cheadle's back. He looks like he's a politician.
Yeah.
I think we might rant at the end of this breakdown because... I don't know who's a Skrull now. Now I'm really nervous because...
He's a senator or maybe he's Secretary of Defense or something
He's some sort of politician at this point.
Because he's got security.
He's got security, and the first part of this trailer is, how well do you know your security? And he's like, what do you mean? How well do I know my security?
And he's like, you didn't see Captain Marvel, did you?
So, well, the thing that came out about this is that Rhodey's known about the Skrulls for 15 years, so that puts it at Iron Man 2, like, as soon as he became War Machine, he knew about the Skrull invasion.
Interesting.
Interesting is right. You didn't say anything to anybody about this? I just hope they do, because I think they did it to Jessica Drew at the beginning of the Secret Invasion. Like, Jessica Drew, like, the Skrull version of Jessica Drew's there, and then, like, Jessica Drew herself's, like, locked up. Like, it's so, tense. The Skrull and, like, Secret...
This trailer gives off tense vibes.
Yeah, like, it feels like a spy thriller, and I mean, telling it at Nick Fury's perspective does it, because there's two ways to go about it. You can do it like this, really kind of just tense psychological thriller, or you can do political / psychological thriller, or you can do it on like an Avengers level scale, which I gotta think was an idea that they probably had early. Like, I thought before, like, what they were gonna do out of Endgame was gonna be the first thing they were gonna do back as Secret Invasion, because what it would have been cool is like, cool, we formed the Avengers back. Bad, half of you guys are Skrulls. Like, this isn't good, but doing this on a smaller scale really lets a lot of these characters kind of shine a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think they want to upset the status quo of the MCU that much by making a bunch of people Skrulls.
Yeah, because, so this is more of, like, how people are consuming these movies now. Like, imagine if, like, these characters, like, imagine they're like, all right, the only character we like is this person left. And imagine if that person was a Skrull, they'd be so mad.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be, I think they're purposely doing this kind of on a smaller scale so that, you know, there's still probably going to be a big reveal, but it's not going to, like, shake the foundation of the MCU. You know what I mean?
How do you feel about that?
It's fine.
You think it's fine?
Yeah, I think this works as a Nick Fury kind of swan song.
Sure. I'm probably on the accord. I really wish this was the Avengers movie after Endgame. Like, to, like, get them back to a status... Or actually, I think I said I wanted it because I forget what I wanted, like... the first Avengers movie out of that to be. They could have just fought like the Master. Who cares? Like, just reform the Avengers, which I do think that Captain America: New World Order will do. But I wanted this to be like the fifth Avengers movie, or the sixth technically. If you split Infinity War and Endgame, like, this one is like, all right, cool, we did it again. But now like half the people are evil and they're infiltrating. So we got a new president.
Yep,
He's probably a Skrull.
Probably. Emilia Clarke's in this?
Yep.
You're Emilia Clarke from Terminator Genesis.
Man, you didn't say Game of Thrones. And Olivia Colman.
Yep.
So the cast itself is really, really put together. So the rumor is that I personally think that Emilia Clarke's playing Jessica Drew. That's to be seen. She's either going to play Jessica Drew or she's going to play like a good Skrull, like a Skrull that's actually on the side.
She looks very Jessica Drew.
Yeah.
She got the hair.
Yeah, and that's a property that's owned by Marvel itself. That's not a Sony property. That's specifically a Marvel property, or an MCU property. And then Olivia Colman. The rumor is that she's playing the granddaughter of the British Howling Commando that's supposed to be Union Jack from Captain America, the first Captain America.
Jack.
Comics are so stupid.
Oh man.
But yeah, you get Olivia Colman in anything, it's gonna work. This is like another one. Like, this is how I felt about specifically the early on episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It physically looks good, like it's shot pretty well. So I just feel some tension out of this. Like, I feel uncomfortable. My boy Ben Mendelsohn is back.
Yes.
Oh,
as
my
a human.
You better be very careful, man.
Yeah,
You're Ben Mendelsohn from Place Beyond the Pines. You're Ben Mendelsohn from The King. That's the second time I talked about The King today.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be very tense. You're not going to know who's who and what's what, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, Fury's got to been a Skrull for a while, right? It's the diagonal toast line, because he ate diagonal toast in Age of Ultron, and he said he couldn't eat it if it's diagonal. Or
they didn't think about it.
Or Captain Marvel came out after and they did think about it. Who else? Anybody else on your list that could be a Skrull? It's got, you know why I think it's Hawkeye?
Hawkeye?
Because remember, he looked at that Thanos is right thing in the bathroom in Hawkeye and he just shrugged his shoulders. But this man went to every foreign country in the world in Avengers Endgame and killed everybody.
He's a depressed dad.
All I'm saying is he just felt really okay with that Thanos is right written there. That's something a Skrull would do.
Maybe Iron Man was a Skrull and will never get resolved. He's dead. They're like, oh no, our secret invasion.
You know who's not a Skrull? Madison from She-Hulk.
She's great.
Yeah.
2 I's, 1 Wen. 1 Y?
2 N's, 1 Y, and it's not where you think.
And guess what? It wasn't where I thought.
No, it wasn't.
We got some Echo / Daredevil stuff that they talked about.
Yeah, they were very proud about the Echo show. Allegra Cox, they said she's such a force. She's got such screen presence. And she said at the panel, like, how important that is that, like, we're finally getting, like, Indigenous Native American superheroes. Like, that's so important. And the show they're saying is it's going to be great. Vincent D'Onofrio he specifically said, like, how great she is as Echo. So I can't high praise. Yeah. So I can't wait for that. She was probably my favorite part aside from Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. Yeah. So that episode 3, I personally think was the best episode of that show, the one that focused on her and her origin. So I want to see more of that and more of her, like, broken father-daughter relationship with Kingpin, and I want to see how Charlie Cox's Daredevil fits into that as well.
Yeah, and then we did get Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio sharing a stage together, talking shop about Daredevil Born Again. Mm-hmm. It's confirmed that this is not going to be a season 4 of the Netflix series. It's going to be an entirely new thing, and Charlie Cox said, fear not.
Yeah.
Fear not, nerds. The Daredevil that you get in She-Hulk is going to fit the tone of that show, and the Daredevil that you get in Born Again will probably not be as gritty and as dark as the Netflix series, but it will still capture a proper tone, I think is how he described it.
Right.
So
and I'm not nervous about it because of how incredible Charlie Cox himself is as that character. I don't have fear in that. I mean, they showed a clip of whatever episode of She-Hulk that Daredevil's going to be in, and I mean, they showed the mid-season a couple days ago. They had the mid-season trailer for She-Hulk that had him kind of as a big piece of that as well. They said their chemistry is incredible for the people that saw it, and I mean, moreover, that line that he gave about She-Hulk versus Jen Walters, like, and about justice and the law, like, that's Daredevil, that's Netflix Daredevil, like, he's not gonna change, like,
exactly.
Just because something has a joke in it, and we'll talk about that whenever we get around to talking about She-Hulk, does not mean it's bad. I don't know where this idea that dark equals good came from, but it's just not true. Then you can just say Guardians of the Galaxy is a bad movie, which it's not. Yeah. So, yeah, it just gives me chills seeing them back together, like, just doing this big rewatch and, like, him being so, like, far in a way the best character from those Netflix shows outside of Jon Bernthal as the Punisher, like, the two of them together. I can't wait for that. I do think that a bunch of them if you think that, like, She-Hulk's, like, cameo of the show, I can see, like, Daredevil being, like, a bunch of those characters.
Got 18 episodes.
It's got 18 episodes to play with, so it's probably gonna feel a lot more like your Arrows, your Flash, like your CW shows in terms of the length of your storytelling.
Yep. We got a bunch of new information about Captain America 4.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot that came out of that, which was really cool. So the director came out, and then it was Anthony Mackie. We learned that the leader's back.
Tim Blake Nelson, the Incredible Hulk redemption arc continues.
Right, and this brings up a bigger question for me, but we'll talk about everybody else. So we're gonna get Danny Ramirez is back. That's gonna be really cool. He knows a thing or two about flying now.
Yep.
Top Gun Maverick legend.
Yep.
We're going to get Isaiah Bradley's coming back.
Yeah.
Which subsequently, I believe that Elijah Bradley's also going to come back, and I think he's going to start to make his uptick into becoming the Patriot. So
I would agree.
Yeah,
yep.
I think both of them are going to be in that. But yeah, this is being, like, I think the thing they said is, like, the Hulk story itself's not over. And what was the thing that the director said? He's like, it's going to be like this, like, political, psychological thriller.
Yep.
Honestly, so I don't know what that means, but that's a really cool way to get people excited. Like, what is this going to look like?
Yeah, because, I mean, we had assumed that, Sharon Carter might be the kind of villain of this.
Right.
But no, it's
the leader.
The leader.
Yeah, so because, listen, I think you people that don't think that She-Hulk has anything to do with anything, you could be in for a surprise because of the thing that came out of episode 4. Can I talk about it?
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers
for She-Hulk.
All right, so to the dismay of people that haven't talked to a woman in 20 years, she went on a bunch of dates, which might upset you because she's not in a hallway fight scene. But yeah, she went on some dates. It's fine. So she was on Matcher, and she was going through the bad dates that you do on your your comedy shows with women, and men. And then she gets to one guy. And the guy's like, man, you're such a fine specimen. And she's just like, excuse me? And he's just like, man, I wonder how I can pierce your skin. Is there anything that can do it? And she's like, yeah, I don't know, and plays it off. He's like, you think vibranium can do it? She's just like, you have some and you want to test it out? And like, she doesn't think all about it. And I was like, this guy's gotta know something, right? So what I think is happening, and this is probably going to lead into the Thunderbolts, because I think those movies are going to play right into each other. It feels like the Hulk serum is the new super soldier serum, because she's the first person that got that after him, because the Abomination had it, but it went bad. Like, she's the first person that worked. Like, she got her she got his blood, and like that's why he vaporized her blood in the first episode. Like the gamma irradiated blood seems like the new super soldier serum.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a big part of Captain America 4. Like Zemo talked about, like, supremacy. Like, this is gonna be big time supremacy. Like, you can't really have people with Hulk, with Jen Walters on the bad side. Like, that can be very dangerous. So
yeah, totally.
That's just a theory, obviously. I don't know what this movie's going to... Yeah, but I do like it, just specifically because it's the leader. Like, I don't know what this is going to look like, but it feels like he's got something... Cool. They're going to give him the big head?
I hope so.
2 big heads in Phase 5. MODOK and him.
Only one big head can reign supreme.
Man.
We got a proper look at the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, so talking about leading into that. So, Thunderbolts lineup. Let's go down the list. So they bought out, obviously they bought out, why am I forgetting her name?
Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Exactly. Bought her out as Val. Yeah. Bought her out as Val. It's even to the point in the concept art, she even looks dressed like Nick Fury. Like, obviously she's the Nick Fury of them. You're gonna get Yelena Belova. Looks like she's gonna be the leader. She's smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
You're Florence Pugh from Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh! Ooh.
We've got John Walker back.
Wyatt
Russell's back as U.S. agent. He's got
Good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We talked about that before we got on here. Like, apparently people don't like his character. I guess you missed the whole point. Yeah. Sorry for you guys that you don't understand that he wasn't the good guy. We have Ghost, which I called. Ghost was going to be a member of this. The one member that I didn't think that is going to be there is we're going to get Taskmaster back from Black Widow. Yeah. And then the big surprise of this is David Harbour's going to be Red Guardian back. So I thought that they were going to have Red Guardian in Captain America 4. I thought that was going to be kind of cool because he had all these fake stories about him fighting Captain America, put him against Captain America now, but he's like, you're not Steve Rogers. But
the cool thing is you're going to be able to possibly see him interact with ... Yep. Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes is also in this.
Right. So, pretty cool team. And then are we missing? I think that's it.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be it.
Notable missing characters. I mean, the big one for me is probably the Abomination, Tim Roth. So, obviously, She-Hulk's not done. They can add characters if they want. I think this is just going to be the lineup. And so, Tim Roth not being there added a little bit more fuel to my theory that this movie is going to be more about the ideal of a super soldier. So I do think that Daniel Bruhl is going to be the villain of this movie.
I think so too.
Because we got a taste of him as the villain in Civil War. And then we got, he was more of an anti-hero, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a little bit more black and white, or a little bit more gray. So I think this one, because most of those members are all super soldiers in a different way.
Which people complained about.
Right.
But if what you're saying turns out to be the case, it actually makes sense.
Yeah, because what's a team full of people that are enhanced? What's the villain? He doesn't want these, because specifically, I look at Red Guardian specifically, he thought he was going to be Russian's Captain America. He's the one that's supposed to be propped up as this figurehead of the grit, the best of what Russia could be, much as Steve Rogers was for America. So that goes directly against what Zemo's ideals are, that all of them represent supremacist ideals. And specifically, I look at Bucky, Red Guardian, and Ghost too, because Ghost is also being used by a government to carry out hit jobs, and somebody that they can't control. She's the most powerful person on this team. So that's why a little bit of me probably wanted to see Tim Roth as Abomination in this, only because he also is an idea of what the absolute worst of a failed super soldier can look like.
He talks about that in She-Hulk. Yeah. It's a really nice scene.
No, that was probably one of the most emotional scenes from that show. Is he's just I thought I was going to be be Captain America, and I was the good guy in that story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I tried to stop a monster.
Right, and I became that monster.
Yeah.
So maybe I kind of do hope that maybe he gets added to that roster. I think that would to give them a Hulk on that team so they can be kind of like the Avengers, this dark version of the Avengers. But yeah, that's the Thunderbolts is going to be they're the antithesis. Are they the Darkhold to the Avengers Book of Vishanti?
Some might say they're the reverse.
Yeah, I'm liking this lineup. The addition of Red Guardian, I think that was a surprise to a lot of people. I don't think that was somebody that was on anybody's radar. You remember what I told you? Listen. I do think that Red Guardian was not on this team. I think that Stranger Things Season 4 dropped, and they were like, oh shoot, David Harbour's actually charismatic and amazing. We're adding him to this movie last second.
He killed the Demogorgon.
He did kill that was an impossible feat, and he did it. And man, you want to talk about sequences from this year? Kate Bush. God. Here's your flowers, Kate Bush. You did it.
So good. And then the last thing is the Marvels. So we got the trio, the Holy Trinity of the Marvels, and the director on stage, and they chatted for a bit, kind of gave us a little bit more about what the show or the movie is going to be about. Apparently that these three are somehow linked together, and anytime they use their powers, they flip places with one another. And that explains the Captain Marvel or the Ms. Marvel post-credit scene where we got Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, swapping places with Ms. Marvel, who we now know can confirm that she will awaken next to Goose. Yep. And the Marvels.
And conversely, that Monica's gonna be with Carol in the living room of the cons, which is gonna be a fun little fight sequence that they have. And again, like a lot of people thought when Carol sees Monica, they're not gonna be, or Monica specifically isn't gonna be on good terms with her. She definitely believes that. I wonder if they're gonna make it so far as to believe she's to blame for her mother getting cancer because of all the missions they were going on. But
possibly, yeah.
Their relationship's gonna be skewed. But Nia DaCosta, the director, kind of marketed this as this kind of comic book madness movie. This is just going to be comic book goodness all over the place. And yeah, leading into these Phase 5 movies are probably going to be pretty big scale before you get to the last couple big ones. So no, this one I actually was pretty excited after the panel came out. Iman Vellani's she's a treasure. They really found an absolute person that people can cling on to. The nerds can cling on to. Her and Kevin Feige's back and forth are always hilarious, and she's always the biggest fan in the room, and I feel that was a breath of fresh air that's breathed into the life. Like we said before, I think it's gonna help Brie Larson's Captain Marvel too.
I hope so.
Yeah, so them being there, I hope will kind of help her out. And I hate to talk about it, but I hate all of you. You made Brie Larson feel bad. Look, nobody cared. All right, you don't like the character, cool. You just crap on Brie Larson to the point where she's just do they even want me back? That's so sad.
And the thing to me with Captain Marvel, it was she and that character and that story were never given a fair shake.
Yeah.
Because she was essentially inserted to the Infinity War Endgame thing to be this Deus Ex Machina. We've never seen, Captain Marvel was ostensibly a prequel, and we never got to see that character properly do a thing.
Right.
Until now. And I'm looking forward to it. We talked about the Ms. Marvel post-credit scene. The suit looks really great. Oh, yeah. I love her look right
She's
now.
Got that 90s look to her. Yeah.
I love the look. I think this might be her true kind of coming out party as Captain Marvel.
I thought the same exact
thing. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Right. And then Tiana Paris as Monica and Iman Vellani as Kamala. I think that the three of them together, it's going to be a trio that people really like. So I hope so, yeah. Yeah, I hope this trio is fun. Nia DaCosta herself is a really good director too, so I think that's the right choice to have on a movie like this. So that's going to come out in the middle of next year.
Yep. And then I guess the other thing that wasn't at D23 but was confirmed was that the X-Men. So the X-Men, according to them, is a ways away. Yep. A ways away. So, don't think too hard about it. They're giving us, the X-Men 97, they gave us a little tease here and there, but as far as grand, big scale X-Men thing, put it on the shelf for now. You can stop your fan casting, you can stop all that. It's not happening.
Right.
basically is the nuts and bolts of it, which we did talk about a little while ago, as it pertains to the whole rights thing in 2025, and they can't even think about it until then. So that seems like that's basically what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I literally have no problem with that, because I wouldn't even want to cloud Secret Wars with the aura of the X-Men yet, because like we talk about like your actual lore and then like the real life story of how popular the X-Men were versus the Avengers, like it wasn't even close. Like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four were so much like they were the magnum opus of what Marvel was doing. So to leave them out, like, because what I think whatever story that the mutants get from like, let's just say 2027 on, like that's gonna be what your Iron Man 1 to Endgame, like the X-Men themselves are going to have their own run. Obviously, you're going to have your other heroes, but it's going to be flipped. Like, they're going to be the ones that are the most important in terms of their storytelling, that and the Fantastic Four. So I don't really have any issues with that. I want them to have some room to breathe. I want them to have some separation in between, what was it, 2019 we got Dark Phoenix and this. Like, give it like a 8-year breathing room, and like now you can finally get some new actors. Like, people are like talking about fan cast getting, like, who cares? Like, like the Fantastic Four is a different thing. Like, leave all that X-Men stuff. Like, maybe there's like actors that are like 14, 15 right now that are going to be like in their 20s by the time that comes around, that are going to be ready to play some of these roles.
Yeah, and it kind of it almost sucks in a way that they even had to like get out in front of this and be like, it's not happening. Like, we're not doing it.
Look,
like,
people. Nothing was ever promised about. They never promise anything.
Because people were like, "Oh, they're gonna do X-Men stuff at Comic-Con. Oh, they're gonna do X-Men stuff at D23."
Who told you? Did Kevin Feige tell you they were gonna do that? We could think all we want, but nothing's ever promised to you. Like, I don't know where this whole idea came. Well, because a big thing that came out of so the big thing was D23 was disappointing to a lot of people, and I was like, was it disappointing, or did you tell yourself that they were gonna announce every last project?
They got WandaVision again.
They got WandaVision again. I learned my lesson after WandaVision. Never again. And because, you know what's funny about me learning my lesson at WandaVision? It made the Loki season finale even better, because it actually happened, and made Mandalorian season 2 so much better, the end of it, because when the things do happen and I'm not expecting it, like, it's such a better payoff. Like, who cares that there wasn't a Fantastic Four fan cast? Like, what if they do show up in the end of something? Like,
the movie's coming out regardless.
Right, like, imagine they show up at the end of like another big project in the next 2 years, like, that's pretty cool, versus they just get announced in a room. Like,
yeah, and my thing about it is, thinking, like, pulling way back, why do we even have to know?
Yeah, true. This wasn't a thing that was normal back in the day. It just things just happened.
When you basically saw an actor in the role that they were in,
they were just in the role.
They were just either in the role, or you saw a trailer maybe, or a poster. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. That's all you got. Right. Like, do we have to know who's cast until we need to know?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's do that. Just have them show up in the Fantastic Four movie. Like, when the first trailer drops, that's when we're going to know who these actors are.
Why not?
That would be so cool.
Like, why not? Yeah. Like, why can't that happen?
Yeah, and I think Marvel is fully aware of, like, leak culture now and hype culture around trailers. Like,
well, we saw it with Spider-Man.
Right, and that was the big one where, like, everything started getting upended. Like, I do have a sneaking feeling, like, maybe they did have the cast ready to go, and they were like, because remember the big tweet that came out about a week ago with, like, the full list of, like, Henry Cavill, Denzel Watt. Listen, look, I'm not as adamant on this as I was before Christian Bale was in Thor: Love and Thunder, but I just don't think that Denzel is going to be in a Marvel movie. That's about how cool it would be. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, even thinking about Thor, like, do you remember how long it took to get that first trailer?
Oh my god, it took forever.
Yeah.
Because people were asking, like, they would tweet anything about a Disney Plus show and all the comments would be like, Thor trailer. Like, you know how annoying that could be for that company? Like, bro, shut up. Like, nobody can, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like,
and it's taking a lot away from how people feel about the movies themselves, because Spider-Man, knowing it's the culprit, like, the trailers were the thing that people, and then the movie came out and it's just like, cool, like, the movie's out, like, you did it to yourselves because the only thing you were thinking about were the trailer, and then the movie comes out and you're like, if everything's not perfect, you're like...
I mean, we were victims of that.
Well, we run a reputable podcast, so we have to be.
It's our job.
It's our job.
Yeah, so, I don't know. That's my thought about it.
It's a rant.
Why do we have to know?
Yeah.
We don't. If anyone can provide me with one... feel free. Like, what reason is there to have to announce a cast months beforehand?
Well, what the people are going to say is, well, you gotta market and hype up the movie.
Not now.
Yeah, why don't you?
The movie's in phase 6.
Yeah. We're not even into phase 5 yet.
There's 50 properties between now and then.
And again, they're not probably going to be like, obviously, because I think the way they were talking about Kang Dynasty is that it's like a recruiting film, and like the Fantastic Four are going to be like play a role in it, but like I don't think they're going to be like big until the X-Men time, like until 2027. Like that's going to be like when it's going to be their run, like their Iron Man, Captain America, Thor run. Yeah.
If you have any courage, Kevin Feige, you coward, you'll keep the Fantastic Four casting a secret until till the last possible second.
To the last trailer.
Till the premiere.
Till the premiere would be amazing. No trailers.
No, you get one trailer and it's a big 4.
Yeah, it's just a big 4. It's just a sizzle reel of the other Fantastic Four movies, and then it just ends on Tony.
No, it's the what they did to Superman and Shazam.
Oh my
It's just
gosh.
Fantastic Four from the chest down.
Yeah, and it's just like Miss Marvel looks up and it's Mr. Fantastic. She just does the scream and that's it.
So yeah, that's D23 in a nutshell.
D23.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I talked about wanting new content, for whatever reason, the Disney portion was getting me. Like the Friday night Disney portion was cool.
I was having fun with that a lot.
Oh, that Star Wars stuff was going.
The Star Wars stuff looked great. That Mandalorian trailer,
man. Mandalorian.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for this week. What have you been doing besides? I mean, not besides. You could talk about the Marvel stuff if you want.
Yeah. So yeah, I finished Cobra Kai season 5. That show is so ridiculous. I love it. Like it's like Cassie Lang from Ant-Man 1, where she's just like, he's so ugly. I love. Like that's exactly what Cobra Kai is. That show is so like ludicrous. I'm so intrigued by like. Listen, Amanda's the only character that makes sense on that show because she's just like, oh, they have warring karate dojos. Like, you say that sentence out loud, it sounds so dumb. But, like, what that show is able to do is get you to care about the most ridiculous of situations, like 17-year-olds having karate, like karate wars. But, again, what was Karate Kid 85? It was 16 and 17-year-olds having karate wars. Like, that's exactly what it is. Like, the way they're able to use...
Karate wars.
That's what they should have called it, is Karate Wars. The way that show is able to use, like, these grandiose, like, ideals for, like, the most idiotic of things. Like, the whole season is predicated around, like, Cobra Kai's, like, country and world expansion. And it's just, like, if you think about it, this doesn't matter to anything. Like, it just doesn't.
Right.
But the show's so smart about the way that it makes you actually believe, like, the world's gonna end if Cobra Kai is able to, like, open dojos, like, in Montana. Like, it's so insane. But, all the characters are great. I love the relationship between, Danny and Johnny now. It's really evolved from season 1, because they really are alike. They're so much more alike than they give themselves credit to. Chosen from Karate Kid 2 is back. He's probably my favorite character this season. He's like a wise old sage uncle that joins the cast to the young kids. Like it's really good. Mike Barnes is back from 3. Like Mike Barnes is he was a little underutilized, but I do think he's gonna be back more next season. So if we're going on the train, right? So you got Kreese back for 2. You got Silverback for 4. So now we're on Mike Barnes and Chosen back for 5. So you know what you got to do in 6? You got to do Hilary Swank for 6. And after you do Hilary Swank in 6, you know what you got to do for 7? You got to do Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan for 7.
You got to cross it over.
You got to cross it over, and that's the last season. And yeah, that was Cobra Kai 5. It's epic. Like, it's that at last, I was so locked in on that last episode. Like, I was verbally locked into that episode. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, in terms of this nostalgia era we live in, like, that show's got it. It's got it times 10.
Great.
It's so ridiculous. Like, it's stupidly ridiculous.
Loved it.
You want me to go to you and then you can come back to me? I got 2 other things.
I mean, I haven't been doing much. Just played The Last of Us. It's great. Man. It's still great.
I've also, I restarted The Last of Us because I wasn't locked in when I did it before.
No, I get that.
Yeah, but totally this time I, like, turned the lights off. Like, it was like I was off. Like, I didn't have anything to do. I was just there. And man, that opening to that game is so gut-wrenching.
It's unbelievable.
It's the world is literally ending around you in like this prolonged take. It's so good. And the way that the characters are kind of portrayed in that story, just they feel so real. Like it genuinely feels if the world had ended and restarted, that's how people would act. Like that's probably my favorite example of that so far. Troy Baker as Joel is just one of the greatest like video game characters of all time. Where I am in the story is where they pick up Ellie shows them the bite. I was about to do the Teen Wolf line where it's just like it's not I should have done the Mortal Kombat line. It's not a bite, Ellie. Means you were chosen.
Yeah, you're the chosen one, Ellie.
Kano was in Cobra Kai season 5.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. Tyron Woodley was in Cobra Kai season 5.
Wow.
Yeah, but that game is so. I literally had like a crumb of that game, and it's so phenomenal. So I can't wait till I get into all those other characters. It prompted me to rewatch the trailer for the HBO Max show. The casting's going to be so good. I can't get out of that first part without being emotional. I don't care how many times I do it.
Yeah, and
But sir, there's a little girl.
Oh man. And and the crazy thing is, it's coming, and then you're gonna watch the show next year, and it's coming. That's gonna be episode 1. The episode 1 is gonna be pre-fall of humanity, and it's gonna be that. Whatever that opening sequence is in the game, that's what the first episode show is going to be. I really don't doubt that. And then, maybe it'll end like him waking up 20 years later. Maybe that's how the first episode ends. And then episode 2 takes you into like the proper Last of Us.
Yeah, I think episode 2 is probably going to be the Roberts. Like, the episodes 2 is probably going to be like Robert specifically. And like, I could see, because I think they said that I looked on IMDb, Bella Ramsey's in all 10 episodes. So they probably will get to like the end of episode 1. I feels like they're going to...
The introduction of Ellie.
Right. It's literally probably going to end with like being like, what's her name? Marlene is just going to be like, all right, I need you to transport some cargo. And he's going to be like, what? Not what, but who?
Unless what they may also do in that first episode is intersperse kind of Joel's quote unquote origin story with Ellie's origin story, and do Left Behind, which is kind of like the genesis of Ellie's story of like how she gets bitten and all that stuff,
which I don't know about yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll play that later. So it's possible that they do that also, where they kind of like, here's your 2 main characters and here's how they became who they're going to be, so I could see them doing that too. But yeah, man, that game is just, I know people complained about it and complained about, why is this game getting remade some 8 years or so after it got remastered already.
Yeah.
The story's timeless.
Yeah, it is timeless, and it's a little relevant. Slow it.
It's freaky.
Yeah, and it's real. Just the opening of it, I'm like, oh man, a little nervous, but I can't wait to talk about it when we talk about the HBO Max. And I have a 4K monitor, which I love monitors because they're a little smaller. You can get like a 28-inch version, a 30-inch version, whatever it may be. And playing it on the P5 engine, 60 frames, like performance mode, it's so gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
like
beautiful
that. Like we were talking before we hopped on, like about games that we can bring back. Like, I mean, a couple weeks ago we talked about Infamous, but like, if they ever do Ghost of Tsushima 2, like, what Ghost of Tsushima would look like when it's built specifically for the PlayStation 5 might be like...
Because that game pushed the PlayStation 4 to its absolute limit.
To the point where they were like, we need to get this on the P5.
I would say that and probably Final Fantasy VII Remake really pushed the PlayStation 4 as far as it could go.
Yeah.
And then both those games got, slightly upscaled, upgraded versions for PlayStation 5 because they were like, shoot, like, this is what we wanted to do. We just didn't have the technology to do it. So here it is. So yeah, I totally agree. For people that say like, oh, it doesn't look that much different, it does. Yeah, I mean,
for me, like I said, like I never finished that game. I like skimmed through it as a kid. I watched my brother play it a lot. Like, how little and older brothers will sit and watch them. That's what I did. Like, I didn't have any emotional attachment to that game. And like, it was on a PlayStation 3. Like, looked for its time. It looked great.
It
but
looks incredible.
Now that I'm watching it like 4K restaurate, like it looks so gloss. It looks really.
The way the characters emote.
Yeah, they emote well. Like they move. Like it feels real. And like I can't harp on it enough. Like I cannot wait for this show to come out.
I know. Pedro Pascal.
And they got my guy from Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is playing Tommy. Uncle Tommy.
Yeah.
You couldn't save Sarah.
Nick Offerman is Bill.
Oh, man. I said anytime you put Nick Offerman in a drama role, it works.
You're going to meet Bill very soon. And you're going to... Once you meet Bill in the game, you're going to understand why they cast Nick Offerman.
Okay.
It's basically what I'll say to that.
I gotta think if this game came out like 10 years ago, they would have gotten... What's the old... Herschel from The Walking Dead would have played Bill.
Yeah, but you'll see when you meet Bill that Nick Offerman is inspired casting for that character. Other than that, that's all I've really been doing. Yeah, that's it.
Luke Cage, right? So look, right? Look.
You thought he wasn't going to circle back to it.
I did.
Look, he did.
All right, so what have I done? I've finished Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4. Great. It's cool. The show is like, it is what it is. The show is what it is, but that framework stuff is really well done. Ada / Madam Hydra, it's tense. It's Ghost Rider himself is really cool. The show's fun. It's a lot of fun that season. It gets much darker. The time slot, I remember, like, I physically remember when they pushed it from 8 to 10, and I was like, all right, cool. Jeffrey Mace as the Patriot is a pretty cool addition too.
Yep.
I love his, like, he gets a redemption arc inside of a redemption arc, because that's what the framework is, so that was pretty fun. So yeah, it's sad too, especially the stuff with Mac as well, with his daughter not wanting to leave the framework. Like, they made the world, like, they made that real world and the LMD thing. I mean, if you really want a cool prelude for Secret Invasion, maybe you should watch S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, because that's a great point. Getting really nervous about who's who. Oh, there's this absolutely amazing scene between Gemma and Daisy in there, where they both think they're LMDs, and like Daisy's like, I'm gonna quake you to find out, and just the performance that Gemma gives, where she's just like, I don't care anything that you said, I literally just watched the man I love, all my friends, my family, my team just be turned, like, I really don't care what you have to say. She's got like the gun hold like posted up, she's ready to go. So that was really good in there. I watched Doctor Strange in there too. Michael Giacchino scored movie, but man, I'm gonna stick to my guns. It's the most underrated MCU movie. I think that movie's really, really well done. Scott Derrickson, as much as I love Sam Raimi and how cool I thought Doctor Strange 2 was, I do kind of miss Scott Derrickson for some things, and there's a little bit more subtleties that I think that Scott Derrickson buys. And it's not something that's better or worse. It's something that's just different from what Sam Raimi did. And then I got to Luke Cage, right? Man, okay. It's got my favorite opening sequence, and how dare I say that over Daredevil, but it's like 70s, like Curtis Mayfield-esque music to start it, which is really cool. Look, I don't know who wrote that show, but like, it's a cool way, like, Cottonmouth is played brilliantly by Mahershala Ali. Mariah Diller's good. Like, listen, look, the dialogue, it's not great. It's not great. It's really cheesy. Man, I don't love what they did with Mike Coulter in terms of the way he like, obviously he's Power Man, he's Luke Cage, like, obviously he's gonna have these bigger lines of dialogue, which are like really like Steve Rogers-esque, like the good for good's sake, but like, it doesn't work sometimes, and it's just like, it's really apparent that it doesn't work sometimes. Like, I encourage some people to go rewatch, like, and then the other thing about Luke Cage is like the split in the season, like, and you'll know when you feel it, like, it's when Cottonmouth's there and when Cottonmouth's not there, like, the show, it dives into the realm of, like, just craziness. Like, it doesn't feel like the same show. Like, it does feel like, it feels like, honestly, it feels like kind of where, like, sometimes She-Hulk gets to, like, in terms of, like, or, like, where where these Marvel TV shows get to versus, like, where the Netflix shows were. Like, it feels like two different sides of it. Like, the Diamondback stuff, like, it doesn't work for me. Like, this idea that that's his brother, like, just, it's not working. And it's kind of disappointing because of how, like, aside from the dialogue, like, the aura that show had for the first couple of episodes was so good. Like, him being this protector of Harlem, like, and not wanting that role too. All the prison stuff's pretty good too. It was really cool. But, and then they kill Cottonmouth and the show just flips.
What?
They killed Blade. Man, I hope they do something with that. For a second, I hope they talk about that for just a second.
I don't think they're going to.
You look like that one gangster from Harlem. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
But yeah, man, it feels a little disappointing. Like, I didn't like it as much in the rewatch, especially that second half didn't work as well. And then, like, the dialogue didn't help anything in the first half of that season either.
That's fair.
That's Luke Cage.
I'm Luke Cage.
I'm Luke Cage. Don't dab again. You've dabbed a lot in the last, 3 weeks. Ever since I told you I was coming up on Luke Cage, you've been dabbing a lot. We gotta get that under control. Todd Bowles was in... The football season started. Speaking of Todd Bowles.
Yeah, you're Todd Bowles from the NFL.
You're Todd Bowles from NFL fame. You're Todd Bowles from Luke Cage.
Which is a real thing that happened.
Yep, I'm not looking forward. I remember watching the first 2 episodes of Luke Cage season 2 and just visible face. Like, what am I watching?
A Bushmaster, though.
Oh, Mariah Stokes. Yeah, you want to talk about underrated villains? I think I'm running up on the Runaways. I'm getting close to that. I'm getting close to where there was a lot of shows there was no Disney Plus at this time, so not CW. Freeform's just and Hulu are like, give us all the teen stuff, we'll do it.
Bring back Cloak and Dagger, you cowards.
Is Nico Minoru gonna come back?
I hope
She's
so.
been on she's in Midnight Suns. She's gonna be in the Spider-Man freshman year. Like, it feels like Nico Minoru is the new face of magic.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Bring back the entirety of the Runaways, but yes, bring back Cloak and Dagger. I think specifically the 2 of them, bring them back. Don't recast.
Absolutely.
Everything's canon. I don't care.
Yes.
Kang ruined everything. Everything's canon.
Yes, everything's canon. Everything.
It's all connected.
Morbius. We gotta go, man.
We gotta go, man. I don't know how I got here. It has something to do with Spider-Man, though.
No, Michael Keaton.
I think, didn't we watch Morbius in Matrix in a month and a half span, and we're like, what are we this is insane.
I'll never forget seeing Morbius and that post-credit scene happen. Everyone was just like,
what? Everybody walked down like the 7 people in the theater walked out. We were like, bro, what was that?
What the hell was that? The Watcher came in. I've seen everything that can happen. Never will happen. But this... What the hell is this? How did Michael Keaton get here?
How did Michael Keaton get here?
You know who would have been a great addition to the Thunderbolts? Vulture.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Watcher.
Yes. Actually.
Put the Watcher on the Thunderbolts. Who else would you like to see in the Thunderbolts? Anybody else?
I mean, most people that probably would have been interesting are dead. I mean...
Killmonger probably would have been a cool addition, because I think there's 2 ways of thinking. There's the Captain America New World Order way of this is what we're split into 3 sections. It's the cosmic time realm of Marvel. I call this the world level, the Avengers world level, and then we're in the street level. The world level where we're at right now is the super soldier is the thing right now. That's the thing that people are, and then the mystical realm is the 4th piece. But the world level heroes are off the back of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the super soldier needs to be dealt with. Yeah. I think this movie's gonna to any capacity, whether it be through Hulk, through gamma radiation, through Erskine's formula, whatever it may be, it needs to be dealt with. So, I think Shang-Chi's sister probably would have been a cool addition to that.
Yeah, she's busy being a gang leader.
What do you mean by that?
She's running the 10 rings.
She is running the 10 rings. Who else we got?
Thanos.
King Thanos.
King Thanos in the Thunderbolts.
A Thanos from a different timeline where he's good?
From the What If episode?
Oh my, yeah.
Good guy Thanos?
Good guy Thanos. Maybe one of the Eternals would have been cool.
How you gonna put an Eternal in the Thunderbolts?
I don't care. I don't know, man. Ask Kawhi. I don't know, man.
What Eternal are you putting in the Thunderbolts?
You're specifically putting Kingo in the Thunderbolts. It's the only one. The finger guns? You gotta put him in the Thunderbolts. Remember when Icarus flew into the sun? Wah wah.
I get
Man, I don't care. I really like the Eternals. That's
best super speed on TV on screen that we've seen so far.
Put Makari on the Thunderbolts.
Absolutely not.
Because you can't put Quicksilver because he's dead. Or is he?
Didn't see that coming. Matter of fact, I did see it coming. Quicksilver.
Yeah.
That's why you're filled with bullet holes.
Yeah, but then you were in Bullet Train, so it all comes full circle.
And you're going to be Kraven the Hunter.
What's Sony doing? What are they doing? Oh, man.
All right, we gotta go.
We gotta go, man.
You can follow us on Twitter at ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook. You can listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google.
Your grandma's radio.
Yep. Your favorite 8-track player and or CD player.
The barbershop.
Your Walkman.
Ryan Reynolds' house. I could do this all day. You saw they did the Rogers musical at D23?
Yeah.
Start out the Marvel panel?
It's pretty great.
They did the whole thing. Nice.
You can follow us on Instagram.
At the Project Infinite Pod.
Thank you. Next week, we might be doing Rogue One. Sorry, Umbrella Academy, but...
Oh my gosh, I've been itching to talk about Umbrella Academy because of how... You know what my favorite thing about Umbrella Academy is? Like, how grand that show gets to, like, universe time travel manipulating stuff, and Klaus is still just a drunk. Like, it's just... I love it.
But you can't combat the power of Alan Tudyk.
No, you can't. Cassian said I had to. Yeah, that's how I'm going to start if we do Rogue One. You're going to know if I'm going to be upset or not, because I'm going to be like, Rob said I had to.
So yeah, we might be doing that. We'll probably be doing that. From me, from the...
Careful.
From the Prince Eric of the podcast.
I thought you were going to give me The Little Mermaid, which would have been controversial.
Prince Eric of the podcast. It was Little Mermaid adjacent. Adjacent?
Jason.
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith. Bring Jaden... Man, you better bring Jaden Smith for the last season of Cobra Kai. Have him fight Kenny.
Worlds collide.
Worlds collide. Jackie Chan versus Daniel Russo. What we've been waiting for. See? Listen, look, right? So this is what you do. You have whatever the villain was from the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, right? Have him, because there's like this big tournament that this show's being like, there's this big tournament that's going to happen, right? So have him come back. And funny story, the kid that played, like, the bully villain in the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, he's in the video with Simu Liu that he used to become Shang-Chi, him fighting. That's him. Same guy. Have him come back, and then have Jaden Smith come back, but have Jaden Smith come back as how Jamie Foxx came back in No Way Home. Just have Jaden Smith be Jaden Smith-esque, and just be real mellow and stuff, and be like, I put away the fighting a long time ago. I'm from Detroit. I'm Jaden Smith.
I'm Jaden Smith.
And then have Jackie Chan come back. Who wouldn't want Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan together?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. That's it.
That's
yeah,
it.
That was my... Yeah.
That's it.
You know what to do, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, we're out of here. Bring Hilary Swank back.
Listen, they can't not bring Hilary... That's the last piece of this puzzle.
That's like the Infinity Gauntlet meme.
Yeah. Because what do we have? We've gotten Chosen, Kreese, Silver, Mike Barnes. Who am I missing? That's 4. Hilary Swank is... that's the last one you gotta get. You gotta get Hilary Swank back.
What a show.
What a show. Oh, they also brought back his girlfriend from 3. Apparently that's the way that he meets Amanda.
The critically acclaimed Karate Kid 3.
Yeah, Mike Barnes is in this. They should have had Mike Barnes play the Terminator. He's got a lot of Terminator energy.
He does.
He's so angry. He's so mad.
Oh, man. All right, guys. we gotta get out of here.
We gotta go, man.
We gotta go. For real this time. I'm Luke Cage.
Don't dab again.
We'll see you next week. Say it. Say the thing.
What do I do?
When I say goodbye.
Oh, peace.
There we go.
I'm Luke Cage.
No. Now he's dabbing.
Yo, he gets so mad when people call him Carl Lewis. I love it. I'm not Carl Lewis. I'm Luke Cage. Then he just starts smashing stuff. I don't want to watch Iron Fist. I really don't. If that's how I felt about Luke Cage.
The best one.
You're Danny Rand from Marvel Comics, aren't you? What does Stick say? He said, I'm Danny Rand. You bumbling.
Thundering dumbass, I believe is what he calls him.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. For real. I'm
really,
leaving for real this time.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Just like Iron Fist got out of the MCU real quick.
All right. Enough Iron Fist slander. Goodbye.
Peace.
Thank you.